Well, anyway, so on the way to
There we go.
the
What's up, guys? We're live.
hello everybody.
So what we're talking about? Talking about.
Oh yeah, so this past weekend we just went to we did a camping trip for my groomsmen coming up for my wedding in November, and so we got together with all my groomsmen. It's basically just the group of guys that we've always been hanging out for the past 2-3 years now.
2 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty consistently. And this time we decided to take a camping trip to a place called Casper's Park, which is located here in Orange County. And anyway, so yeah.
That's crazy that that's still Orange County. Like that's. Like I didn't think Orange County was that big. Like I used to think that Santa Ana was Orange County. Like people would ask me, like if I were to go to like I went to Colorado once. And they're like, "Where do you live?" I was like, "Orange County." Like I literally thought Orange County was just like
Santa Ana,
where I live.
Orange. Oh, I see.
Like my school, my church,
that's
my
your town basically.
where I would go to eat. Like
Yeah.
I thought that was Orange County. Like when I started discovering, it's like what? Like it's all the way up to San Diego, pretty much, right?
Well, I think it's like Oceanside is where it starts to change.
It's like pretty much a half hour from every direction from where I live, almost.
Yeah. An hour. I would say an hour. Because, I mean, LA County starts pretty close, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what? Passing Brea? Passing Anaheim? That's like LA County up there?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Hacienda.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
But going camping?
But anyway, yeah, so we went camping this past weekend for a night in one day. And wow, it was an experience, man. Just, I know we always hang out, but it has never been in a place where we just go there and conversate and have conversations and laugh and crack jokes.
Yeah, it was something very simple. They should be able to do anywhere.
And yeah, right? And we've never been able to do that because most of the time we go out to a place, there's always like, it's loud, you don't get your point across, you're like, what? You can't hear anything, right? And this time, I really enjoyed it, dude. Just cooking the burgers, being out in nature, and honestly, giving like a break to technology. Like it was really, I liked it in that sense where although I did have my phone and although we did have service up there, I didn't like catch. Okay, maybe I caught a couple of the guys like messing on their phone here and there.
I don't think anyone took a call or anything.
But nobody took like a text or a call or be on the phone watching YouTube or anything like that. It was all about having a good time and conversating and eating some good food. And I mean, yeah, dude, that was like, it's probably one of the coolest trips I've ever taken.
Yeah, one of the things I was freaking out about though is on the way the decision was just to give money to someone to have all the stuff we needed, and so we were gonna buy everything that morning and go, and then we got a message saying, "Oh, let's just go together." That made me feel so much better.
Really?
Yeah, because Robert and I we were in the same car together,
right?
And we were talking about it, and we had just gotten pizza at Costco, and Robert's like, "Well, I can't eat the pizza," and because he's lactose.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
And
sorry, Robert.
And so he's like, "Yeah, I'm glad we're going to another place so that I can get some food up." And then I was telling, "Yeah, I didn't want to like show up and there be like, because you guys all like fish and stuff like that." So I didn't want to show up and it'd just be sushi. And then the funny part was when we got to the grocery store, that's exactly what Robert went to get. He had sushi. I was like, look. And he started laughing. And then right there we were able to choose like different things.
Yeah.
And
although it was a mission to get out of that store though. It was like one person went missing, then the other people, some of the people just went missing for like an hour.
They knew we didn't belong in that town. Like We went to 2 different places, in the Costco and in, I think it was a Ralph's. Dude, I could see the people just looking at us like, you don't belong in this town. Like, it was the weirdest feeling.
Yeah, because everybody had their own dress code. Like, I took things to hike in, like shorts and like Under Armour.
I was wearing this.
What are they? The spandex? I don't know what the hell they're called.
Not tights.
The leggings, dude.
The runners.
The
I think
runners.
they're called runners.
I don't know what they're called. But the yeggings, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Like a hat, and then somebody took like a T-shirt with like chinos, and then it was like another person took like they were gonna go into like go
Someone
to
had
war.
dress pants on.
Yeah, chinos. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and then some
T-shirt and sandals.
like they were going to the beach.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, dude. We definitely did not belong at the Ralphs, though. Like, well, I mean, I guess people might have liked the change. It's like, hey, who are these guys? What are these guys doing?
But that one girl did.
One girl.
When we were outside, dude, loading up the car after Ralph's, she was just like, she like slowed down walking.
Oh,
she was just
yeah. She's like, what's
looking
happening?
at the group of us. Yeah, that was funny. But like, one of the interesting parts was when we got there, I was looking around and how I was saying about how I didn't think that people were going to like be prepared or we would be missing things. It's kind of interesting because everyone seemed to have something different that they prepared more than everyone else.
Well,
so like I was like, oh, we needed all this stuff, and then I forgot to bring a jacket.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think of wearing a jacket.
Right.
But I had all the bedding stuff.
Why? Yeah. Well, I mean, I asked you beforehand.
Yeah, but like 2 people came up with nothing. One came up with a pillow that you use on your chair here.
I know, my patio chair, right? My patio pillow.
So like that's the thing. Like if I wasn't prepared for that, they would have been sleeping on rock hard ground.
Wow, they would have burned.
But that was another thing that was interesting though, is that we also didn't necessarily prepare for breakfast the next day. And the thing that Robert had brought that I didn't know he had done that. Like when I saw it on the table, I was like, "Oh, cool."
What was it?
Because we didn't get the ramen.
Yeah.
The ramen and the.
Oh, I knew he
the ding dong
bring it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I knew. Yeah.
And that was clutch for the next day of breakfast, dude.
Dude, like warm, hot, like soup.
Yeah.
Dude, that was really good. And then the Powerades. Yeah, he really outdid himself with that one. But I mean, I feel like everybody contributed enough, like something different that it made everything come together.
Yeah.
Like you brought the 10% tent, which slept more than half the people in there. We had, Robert came in clutch with the snacks, with the what do you get? Like the fruit that you said, the the little pastry with Powerade and the marucha, the soup, and that was great, man. That was really perfect for both days, right? Because the first day was really hot, and then the fruit was great, dude. Some tahini on it. Oh man.
Because him and I were talking in the car about like being prepared and all that, and having everything. Because he had told me he prepared a bunch of corn to pick up, and he forgot it. So it's like
that would have been really good.
One of the issues with preparing is that like you start to prepare so much that you have so much that's ready, but you forget to take it because you know it's already there and it's good to go.
Checklist.
But it's not. You don't have it ready to be moved.
Right, but checklist, man.
Like he had it. He was prepared.
Right,
but he didn't
make a checklist.
Yeah.
He probably had a checklist in his mind, but when you make a checklist before you walk out the door, I mean, I didn't do it obviously because it was, you said you were gonna have a tent. So why would I pack a tent?
Yeah.
You said you were gonna have an extra sleeping bag. So why would I pack a sleeping bag? I just went with what I needed. I brought the burgers. I brought the what else did we bring? What else? Hot dogs.
We got all
the
that
skewers. Oh well,
The skewers and stuff. That was.
well, Sergio brought the
yeah.
skewers. We didn't even use mine, huh? Yeah. And then just my things, just one change for the next day.
I brought extra, dude. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but
But I'm saying, like, if you would have used or anybody, right, checklist before you walk out the door, you're like, huh, I got 9 of these things, and I'm missing one. Where would I put it? And then but I mean, people forget, dude. But anyway, just
well, that's
I
what
use checklists.
Robert and I were also talking about like he wanted to perfect it so that if we did something again, we could it could just be like a get this and go. We already know what we need to have. And I was looking at it, and people do that. They have they go out and get just like totes, and they just fill it with the stuff that they need for that. And
Yeah.
all they have to do is pull that out and put the perishable stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go.
My wife's uncle. It's where I got this whole checklist concept from him. Dude, he will prepare everything like to the T, and then even sometimes over prepare if we go camping with a bigger group, because he just says like someone's bound to forget. So like I just bring it. Like I don't even think about it anymore. But he just has everything prepared in his. Well, now he's got an RV, so he just has everything in there. Just loads it up, pumps in the water, and boom, ready to go. And it's really easy. But I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? You guys think we should do that again in the future or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy enough.
I thought it was really fun, dude. And just the experience alone was, I guess I got more satisfaction from doing this camping trip than I would have gone if I saw you guys at a restaurant and went to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was I didn't necessarily worry about anything. I just wanted to be comfortable and have food. So that whole
You're
thing was
so
fine.
simple, Greg.
Yeah, food.
Yeah, right. You want to be comfortable and you want to have food.
Yeah, that's it. Because it's the second
Probably
you
just
the
talking
second you
about-
get uncomfortable, like there were 2 people who one went to sleep super early. The other one was taking like 6 naps to the day. Like when you do those kind of things, you start to lose like the time that you have there. So the more comfortable, like I'm surprised I didn't fall asleep on the chair like some of the people were. Like
Oh, that was so funny.
like
dude.
those kind of things, like if you're comfortable, you have the food, you have the energy, you can do more. Like the hike we went on could have lasted longer if we had waited to have like drinks or eat before going, because we're all full and we're trying to hike in like 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I didn't really.
But I mean, that
find
also-
a problem.
I
I thought
also
it was,
created a different experience. But
what an experience, right? So just a little bit of context and backstory to the hike. We're all sitting down and having this kumbaya moment, just cracking jokes and everything, and just out of the spur of the moment, we just kind of all decided to go on this hike, and so we ended up hiking for what, 3 miles, right?
I think it was 2
2.5?
miles.
It was like 3 miles, like there and back.
Maybe.
And we found ourselves in the middle of a field where bees were just buzzing all around us. You couldn't even see the bees. They were like in the trees.
It was a
You know, like
close
what?
trail too.
It was a close, narrow trail,
It was
right?
a close trail because it had overgrown. So like you were just on a little path. So usually they don't let you do that because then the bugs will scrape you and like lice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we went on this illegal excursion, I guess, expedition, and who, I don't know if it was. I think it was Sergio. He just midway into the hike, he put on the Gladiator song, and then he just brought everybody together, and it's like everybody knew what we were gonna do, and we just kind of like huddled together and we put our hands and then we just started like battle roaring. And that was the most epic thing I've ever done. That was so cool. It was so relieving, dude.
We just started screaming and then took off running.
Yeah, like we exerted like a bunch of energy.
Yeah.
Like
what we were
that?
close.
That was so. I felt like that was so primal. You know?
I guess. Yeah. I don't think about things like that. Like I've always, like when you do things, like when you win a game or when you outrun someone, or like even when we were playing the 3 flags up thing, when you got like the frisbee, if you got the frisbee, you would be like, you suck, like you're loud and you make a bunch of noise.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I guess because we talked about this before about how I word things differently, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. No, I know you're right.
So like you call it,
but it was
primal, and I call it something else.
The definition, like, I guess would be primal. Like, it was like cavemen.
Yeah.
Like if we had caught deer and we're just about to eat, like that's how I felt.
Yeah. Like we bring it back and we show everyone. We're like, yeah.
Yeah, like that. Just toxic masculinity, for lack of a better choice.
Get out of here with that.
Dude, I thought that was really, really cool. I had never experienced something like that. Just having that type of energy, you know?
Yeah.
I guess like teams, like sport teams, they have that.
Well, I had that the day before. We had the rivalry game, and I was screaming. I'd never done that.
Rivalry game for what?
For soccer. For the LAFC versus LA Galaxy.
Like the MLS, right?
Yeah, and I never this loud. I was standing up like more than half the game, probably 75% of the game. I was standing up. I was yelling at the other team. I was like, you suck, go home! Like when we scored a goal, I put the chair down. I stood on the chair and I was screaming. When my jersey, my player went in, I took my jersey off and I was like,
You did?
Yeah, dude. I was trying to get the attention of the cameraman. I was like, over here.
And given that Greg is the shyest guy I know, you know what it is, dude? It's like
it's the group mentality.
It's the group thing.
Yeah. It's the same thing as the whole like inciting a riot, but it's a different form. It's not inciting. I mean, it may still be inciting violence because there's more fights at that game than there is all year.
Oh.
But like the type of like thing that I was doing was cheering for the team, like get out of here, like that was fun. Like there was fans for the other team right next to me. I was making fun of them. Like they gave us a towel at the beginning, so I was handing it to them, telling them to wipe their tears and stuff like that. But like there was no like malice. Like I wasn't trying to attack them or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's the same thing.
It's like
you see, it's acceptable at that time.
Huh?
Yeah, like if you're standing there when like half of the people around you are sitting down, just kind of like getting excited when a goal goes, but then sitting down and kind of quiet the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But with this game, everyone's like standing up, cheering, even when nothing's happening. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I think
I need the difference. Feel that energy, huh?
Yeah.
From radiating from the place. Like there's just energy. See? Now you understand it.
No. There's a difference. There's a difference between energy and the type of energy you guys were talking about that day.
You didn't feel the energy though? Like I felt the energy surround us.
Sure.
Like we were powerful. Like we were about to go after a deer or a boar with spears. Like that's how I felt.
You have a type of energy. That's fine. I understand that. But to say that an inanimate object has the same type of energy as a crowd pushing towards something, excited about something specific, like saying that this floor has the energy of happiness, like that doesn't make any sense.
No.
So like maybe something had happened.
Oh,
and now you feel
ghosts.
Happy because
you're talking about ghosts.
No.
Like
because the type of energy we were talking about, like how some specific kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know because we're jumping like around right now. What energy? What were we talking about? The energy. We're talking about energy. Why were we talking about energy?
because of the game.
No, but before, like.
Oh, you
this-
mean the
like
conversation about like energy in general?
now. Yeah.
Because we were talking about how like stones have energy.
Oh,
One
like,
of the friends had a specific
crystals?
stone, a
like
crystal.
crystals?
Yeah, and that people have different types of energy that they give off
That I
that
do
you can
believe.
just feel.
That I believe.
But do you think
The
that they
stones,
have
I
that
don't know.
without action?
The stones, I don't know.
So like
the
someone could be standing next to you and say they're like very outgoing, they're very talkative, they can make people very happy. But in this circumstance, they were just standing next to you, didn't say anything, didn't do anything. They still have that same energy as what they would normally do when they're talking, being happy, and everything.
No.
So
I think
then
there's a
it's an
difference.
action rather than it's a something coming from something.
Yeah, what I think
And
I think it's correlated to that type of energy is correlated to body language.
So that kind of energy changes based off the situation that's going on.
Yeah.
That's how that I can agree with.
Right.
But when you're saying that this stone that just sits there and doesn't do anything gives off a happiness or an energy of being like okay and free like that, no.
I
don't agree with that.
I don't really. Well, it's not that I don't agree with it. It's because I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. I can't say it's a definite thing. Like, yeah, it's not. It's not true. I don't know if it's true or not. Right.
Well, sure.
So I can't say something definite like that. But I don't know if I believe it because, like, in my room I have a salt lamp. It's on like every night for at least half an hour, an hour.
Yeah, but there's reasons why.
I don't know if I really feel a difference.
Is it one of those yellow ones? Have you licked it? Does it actually taste like salt?
Yeah, it's actual salt.
Okay. Do you know why people use that though?
Something it's gonna like it just oxidizes something. I don't know. I don't even
that
know what
part
that
of it I
is.
heard is fake, but one of the parts of it is it gets rid of the blue light, so you still get light, but it's not affecting your what is
Your
circadian
sleep?
rhythm
Yeah.
kind of concept. And I think it also does help with air quality. So those
Perhaps.
that's fine. I understand that, but sure that can create better air quality means you get less sick, that kind of thing. That's fine. But to say it has an energy that makes you
Well, maybe
that makes you
maybe
feel
haven't
better,
felt it.
no,
That's the thing.
that's a byproduct of what it does. That's
Well,
not what it is.
Look, a lot of people claim that they feel it. So, are a lot of people crazy, or is it just their interpretation? Like, I don't know that because I haven't felt it myself. So I can try to dispute it, but I really don't know if it's true or not.
Yes, but I think it's like how we were talking about earlier about the difference of knowing what something's doing and having and so like we were talking about the kids, how kids have so many ideas and things that they can't explain, so they kind of just do things. But then when an adult can interpret what they're doing and show them how to do it better or the right way, the adult may not have had the idea, but they can interpret what the kids try to do and create the idea in a proper way. And so we're trying to.
Well, that's.
We're
I
trying
don't know
to.
if that's true though. Is that true?
What?
That's what people do.
Yeah, you do that all the time. What do you?
We were having this conversation earlier before the podcast, and you brought up the subject. So if you want to give a little bit of the context of the conversation, it would help people know what we're talking about.
We were talking about. Well, this was conspiracy shenanigans.
Yeah.
This is talking about how the Vatican, or I don't know exactly what it was. They went searching for a kid,
a missing girl
in the Vatican, and then found a bunch of
bones.
Yeah, where it wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
And then I don't know why they looked in a crypt, but then bones that were supposed to be there weren't there. So now there's a bunch of weird stuff going on. And we were talking about how there's always been a lot of weird stuff surrounding kids with like the Catholic Church, like whether it be a lot of them are like priests are molesting kids or like these bodies and
Just a lot of weird shit's been happening with the church, yeah.
yeah, and so I was thinking that maybe like the higher ups of the Catholic Church figured something out about kids and kind of like saw that they are doing or seeing things that adults aren't, but not being able to process it and explain it and move on from that, where the adults can see it and start piecing things together, and maybe that's why they're so interested in kids.
No. Okay, so we were talking about this, but then I was telling you that I think it's just creepy old men. Because why would it just be with the Vatican? Why wouldn't it be done in schools? Why wouldn't it be done as a thing? Like, is this how we learn? Why wouldn't it just everyone adopt that idea?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I just think it's old, crazy guys who can't do anything with regular people, and they just get what they get what they can, and sometimes it's just poor, naive kids. That sucks.
Well, with that kind of thing, yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, I don't know. It's too much for me to fathom that the idea is that they're using kids to learn.
Well, I mean, because didn't they?
Adults teach kids.
I mean, if you think about it, everything starts with kids. You were a kid once, so over time, everything starts with kids. Like even like what was it? The Russians had taken kids and trained them to be spies from very young, and then sent them to other countries.
Right.
And it was this huge thing.
Yeah. Well, they conditioned them.
You can
they conditioned the kids to be a spy and to say, "This is your life. Those are the enemy." And then when you're in this camp all your life and all you do is train, and the people who are feeding you tell you like, "Hey, we're in a war. This is what war is." They show you like this is what war is. The images of death.
And maybe they're trying to do
just,
the same concept or something. And
I don't think so. I think it's. I think that's too far from what the truth really is.
Like it's
and
crazy
maybe the truth is too ugly that you don't want to see that.
It's also
why would you want to
crazy.
See that?
You're talking about conditioning kids, right?
Yeah.
But at what point is conditioning kids and just growing up any different? Like everyone is conditioned then.
You're conditioned to you're conditioned to the experience or from the experiences that you've had. So if you're in a third world country with no technology, or I mean everybody has technology now. It's the 21st century, right? But let's say like in the early stages of the Industrial Revolution, let's say the wheel, for lack of a better example, let's say the wheel in a third world country who didn't know what a wheel was at that point in time, those people in the third world country would never know what a wheel is unless they came over to this other country and looked at it. And so they would be conditioned by their tech. It's literally in the word conditioning, their conditions of their environment. So they would never be able to invent, or I wouldn't say never, but you know what I mean? Like
it's kind of what we were talking about before. They didn't have the tool to do the next thing.
Yeah, it's just like ignorance.
But did they need it?
The wheel?
You know what I mean? Like,
well, it revolutionized everything.
It changed things, but like,
transportation.
Did they really need it? Like, we don't need any of this stuff.
I would say
it's nice to have things. Like, it's nice to have a telephone to be able to call and you're connected to these people more. But like, if you didn't have a telephone, like, life would still be going on.
Well, yeah.
Like, people wouldn't move far away.
Right.
You would still have your community of your family still next to you.
Yeah,
like,
you wouldn't.
It wouldn't necessarily.
We wouldn't have this I'll tell you that.
This, sure, you want to have this,
We
but
wouldn't
like,
have the internet.
but like, think about it now. Like 10, 20, like let's say 30 years from now, whatever is going on then, we most likely didn't have now. But like, does it matter? Like right now, we're like, oh, we have all this stuff. This is so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, we got air conditioning going on. But like in 30 years from now, this is gonna be like, ugh.
Well,
Ooh,
we don't.
that sucked. It
well,
must
we
have
don't-
sucked to live.
We
then.
don't know that for sure, though.
But come on, even 30 years from now, back then, our parents would say the same thing,
Okay.
and
what
that's
if,
so
what
weird.
What if a meteor hits
Uh huh.
and everybody just gets wrecked?
Mm-hmm.
Would we be able to say that?
I mean, what? As in, it's better?
Yeah.
No, but the people
That's what
who
I'm
are
saying.
were born into that, and they're used to it. Like there will always be people who
Right, but
will have a
there's
shitty part of their life,
right.
or be born into
Right.
into
one
more
of those-
garbage than
but
others.
What if one of those is like you?
That's fine,
You know
But
what I
like-
mean? So it does matter that
but then
Yeah,
it
it-
adjusts.
everything
Everything
adapts.
always adjusts.
Yeah.
It's like when you
Right.
watch those, like the zombie movies, like what's that? The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
where his son was still really young at the beginning, so all he ever knew was that life, and he
Right.
started becoming that life. He ended up shooting his mom when she became a zombie, and
Spoiler alert! If you haven't caught up on the
come on,
Walking
please.
Dead, I know it's been like 5 years.
And like he did all this stuff that like no kid would ever do normally, but now it's normal, and it's not. I mean, it may still be a big deal, obviously, to him, but like even he was starting to say like this is just life, like this is what it is. Like I'm used to it, like it's fine.
Yeah, people adapt, and in fact, the human body is very notorious for that. It's notoriously known for that, to be able to adapt. That's the only reason why we survived this long and why we're not at the bottom of the food chain. Because other animals weren't able to adapt. Like, it gets cold, what do? Well, there's some people up in Alaska who wear jackets and they're living below whatever Fahrenheit and they're fine, even though they get less sun than us. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it just, in fact, that is why you have like whiter skin, because your ancestors weren't able to get as much sun.
I don't know about that. Like some of that stuff doesn't necessarily make much sense, because then if that's the case,
Yeah.
like you're saying the ancestors
Like
didn't have
polar
enough
bear.
sun,
A polar bear is a good
but
example.
like wouldn't that have to change over time then? Because like all the races have gone so many different places that over time, shouldn't everyone be changing to whatever?
No, because it was
Like-
over thousands of years that happened, and so you carry the genes of the people that evolved there. That's why all the people are different. Like Hispanics, like I'm from like Mexico. We were conquered by Spain, which were more white folk than us than the natives.
That just freaked me out.
What?
You were talking about
And then
how
mixed.
like white folks and natives. You're talking about like Indians so coming across the ocean.
Yeah,
Space is the ocean right now.
Yeah, and we're gonna go to Mars, to the next.
We're gonna go
continent.
wherever the hell the next Indians are.
Well, that's if there's even Indians out there.
No,
you don't know
dude.
that.
It's the same thing they were saying at the ocean, dude.
Well,
They're like, the world's flat, you're gonna sail off the end.
yeah.
Aliens are real, dude.
So,
Aliens are real.
so
Hands
you
down,
went
dude.
from Spanish conquistadors.
We're
to
on the Spanish conquistadors right now, dude. Dude, there's gonna be if it's the same kind of thing,
But wouldn't
there's
we
gonna be a
already
sickness that we're
But
gonna get.
wouldn't we already be?
Either we get sick or they get sick, or no, both sides got sick, right?
But yeah,
Yeah,
but
'cause-
wouldn't it be the same now? We have invaded animals. They are the aliens. They are the natives. We don't really understand them. We put them in cages and zoos.
so because there's that whole theory about we had come from another planet right?
Oh,
so like
so there's
maybe
this-
we came in those asteroids that wiped out the dinosaurs,
like
and
it's
then
germs. It's
we
germs.
we're here. We're not there. Like we now
Maybe the aliens were the dinosaurs here, and we came on this asteroid that hit Earth, and we just came from germs. Isn't that the whole
I don't know about
evolution?
that.
That's the whole evolution.
You're saying like maybe
Yeah.
some planet far away shot us like little sperms, and then we just happened to fertilize here.
Yeah. And we're like spores. We're like bacteria.
So there are more of us somewhere out there, human wise.
Yeah.
But maybe we took on the word human now, but they took on some other word.
Maybe they're called the Anunnaki, like people say.
Damn. I've never heard that before.
That's a crazy.
I don't know how that necessarily would work
Theory.
because the way we are,
Well, look,
like we would
there's
have to
those
when we
little
fertilize, we have to fertilize in something because we grow. Like
well, this is our. Okay, so maybe we're a strain.
and because we have to be taken care of, like
Yeah, like,
human babies can't like. I don't think. I don't know if it's tested. Maybe we should look this up.
what?
If a baby was born, like they can't crawl, they can't get on their stomach and get food. Like they have to be nurtured. So
Yeah,
if we were to
we're
just
mammals.
grow, we would
We're
die.
mammals,
We would die.
right?
So there would have to have been Adam and Eve or some kind of concept like that, where there were two fully grown people who could take care of the new.
But we go back to the chicken or the egg.
But that's the point,
You know
though.
what I mean?
A baby chicken who hatched
But that,
can go out and peck for food and
but,
move around
no, but
and,
that's why they're
and
saying.
take care of themselves.
That's why they're
A
saying
human
germs.
can't.
Germs can't. Germs multiply. Cells multiply. They multiply a crazy.
I wouldn't believe it.
You don't believe that cells multiply?
No, I don't believe that we would come that many. Like we
From
started
germs?
mutating over time into a human.
Yeah.
I
We're
don't
just a
see that.
strain. What if? Okay, let's say let's say we put this into another perspective. Let's give this theory some time. Let's say that our old Earth or our old planet, wherever it is, away like maybe even further than Pluto, okay, was hit by another thing or something exploded or collided, and it sent this big chunk of rock into our solar system, and it just happened to coincidentally hit Earth. It wiped out the animals that were already living here. They're the dinosaurs. And then the germs evolved to different species. Maybe the dinosaurs were the aliens here. That's what was here before us. But we accidentally wiped them out. And then we came as germs. Like, have you seen the water bears? They live in space. They can live in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So if there's life that can live in a vacuum, there's that possibility now of germs that were able to be here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, but the reason that it's possible for certain things to be in certain places is because how those work. So you can't take something that doesn't work that way and just make it work that same way. Like let's say something breathes water.
Yeah.
Like fish don't breathe water; they breathe the air that's within the water. So they're still technically breathing air, right? They filter the air from the water.
Yeah.
So
Well,
why?
it's not air. It's like it's close to air. It's
So,
close to the oxygen.
So
yeah.
essentially, you have to find a filter to make it work for you. But they're filtering out stuff to still get the same result. So if that's not there, so let's just say we need air, so we got to filter out lava to breathe under lava. But there's no air in lava, then that concept doesn't work. So we still need what we need, but we need to find a way to get that from whatever the outcome is. So we don't just
maybe I'm
adapt
mistaken.
and
Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I mean that could just be horseshit. Like we don't know. That theory could just be horseshit, right? Because if we really want to get into nitty gritty, there's been what reptiles haven't really changed over the years. They've gotten a little smaller, but people like scientists think that it's because there's less oxygen in the air. But I don't know if that's true, or the amount of oxygen in the air is lower. So there's smaller animals, smaller people.
well, it's like things like that I can understand. Where it's like here in the United States we have an enormous amount of food, so we have more fat people.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean that we have adjusted our bodies because we need to be fatter for some reason.
Well,
It just so happens that
is
we
a
have more food, we're eating more, we're getting
here
fat.
is a commodity.
So it's the same thing, like how you're saying, what about less air, so they're getting smaller? It's the same thing. They're eating less, they're smaller. Like those things, that's fine.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But to say that reptile is now growing human legs, because there's more food that humans eat or something like that. That I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Well, you have to go by stage. Like that's an oversimplification
But
of
then-
the idea.
What doesn't make sense is there will always have to be enough mutation to see a difference. Like there always has to be that middle ground.
Well, yeah, the
But there's not.
Neanderthals were there are things back in the day that looked like humans. If you were to look at them, like, yeah, that looks like a human, but they were like close relative.
But we're basing that off of like
But it's also
things we can't guarantee. Like I think now, if the world lasts for a long time, now that we have the capabilities of having pictures and having things that we can guarantee, videos that are recorded. I mean, even that stuff can be faked now, I guess. But that's the whole thing. Like now, the documentation is better because we can have those images and see what happens. So I think down the line, that would make us smarter in a sense because we can guarantee stuff. Like imagine we have an artist that drew out these dinosaurs.
Let me tell you something.
And now we just think that like dinosaurs are real. People were putting these bones together, and maybe it was more of a art thing or something back then, and now we're taking it as they were these beasts. Like things like that. Like we don't have any guarantees that we do now. Like some people don't believe that dinosaurs are a thing and these bones aren't real. Like I don't.
But how do you not? But there are bones out there.
But there's not enough bones. Like that don't.
There's a lot of bones.
There's a lot, but that's like saying that there's.
But you have to think about it. Like what happened?
Like imagine all the animals right now,
but
right?
Look,
like
happened?
there's a ton of tiger bones out there to be like, oh, there were a lot of tigers on this.
Okay, let me tell
There's
you.
not that many dinosaurs.
Have you ever found a tiger bone?
I haven't known because a lot of areas that there's tigers.
How do you know?
Because tigers don't live here.
But they probably did at one point. Or
It's like
something
saying-
like a saber-toothed tiger.
Well, it's
did.
like saying that you don't see scorpions. Like there's scorpions all over Arizona. That's my point. Like,
no, but that's
why
what I'm
aren't there
saying.
dinosaurs
Right?
all
Remember
over?
the other day when we were talking about this, when we were looking at the stars, like, and we were all like in the fire pit, in the bonfire, just taking in like the stars and the bigness of the world.
Huh?
I'm telling you, I don't think that people recognize how big the world really, really is. It's not like there was a saber-toothed tiger on every part of every foot per square or every square foot. It was like they ran in a pack of two, or they were like cougars. Like you don't see them now all that often. However, there's still thousands of them out there.
Sure, but
But
it
if
would
you
be
were to
more
compare-
populated back then because there was not as
Predators.
much. Yes, but they were
predators.
They were more predator than humans were.
We don't know that.
Yeah, back in the whole dinosaur concept,
We don't know
like
that.
the cavemen were not as powerful until they started using like the
Tools.
fires and tools.
Yeah.
And then they were still not
But
the
if
predator,
there
the
was-
alpha predator.
Yeah, but if there were so many other predators, why are we here? If we weren't that big, we're not
At that time, I don't think we were.
What?
I think it's like
Why would we here?
it's like there are different levels. What is it? Because apex predators.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
like,
this is why. Right.
There are predators on every level.
Yeah,
So
so-
like if we had spears, I don't think we were stronger or more of a predator than lions.
No, it's
We
because you're
became
right,
more
you're right.
powerful.
It was
more,
after dinosaurs where humans were like.
when we could
air
work and
quotes,
communicate and be like, hey,
people
let's set a trap.
They don't know if they were
Like-
humans in the dinosaur era
Yeah.
because there's no human bones recovered from that era in the crust, in the Earth's crust, like, or in the rock.
Well, there would have to be if we believe in cavemen and dinosaurs.
I think it happened right after. It must have been because the whole theory is that we come from germs in the water, turned into reptiles because that's what they call we have a reptilian brain, right? And we evolved to come out of the water and then walk on. We were on four legs and then we walked upright. Once we started hunting, like with tools. That's the whole concept. I don't think the concept is about cavemen and dinosaurs. I think that's just like cartoons and movies.
Well, you know how like you just said right now, we have like a reptilian brain.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So we were talking a little bit ago about how we would still need things. So like the fish still need air, but they need it a different way. So they bring in the water to get the air from that. So they still need air at the end of it. So maybe
Or
how
oxygen. It's
the
oxygen.
bodies are here, dogs, tigers, monkeys, humans, everything. Here, all those kind of animals who are similar all need air, all need
Oxygen.
types of
oxygen.
food.
Yeah.
So all of our bodies will need similar things to process all of that kind of stuff. So obviously they will be similar in a way, but doesn't mean that it came from
So why would it
From
be
the other
similar?
one. Because we all need that
Why?
to process
Right.
living here.
Why? If we're so different, why do we need the same thing?
Because
Maybe we're not
it's a
so
source.
different. Maybe we're not so different.
In a way, sure. Like we all breathe. Tigers breathe, we breathe.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we breathe because we got that from the tiger.
No. It means that we got it from a very long distant relative from the tiger.
Or we breathe because that is a requirement for living here on Earth. Because that is the source of energy
Why do rocks not
that
breathe?
we need to live here.
Yeah. Why do
Whereas
rocks
in a
not
different
breathe?
planet, maybe there's something that doesn't
Right.
exist here
But why?
that they need
Answer
to
me.
live there.
Why do rocks not breathe?
Because they don't, but they also have no relativeness to us.
We have relativeness to the rock.
How?
Carbon.
Okay.
We're made up of carbon, and the rocks are made up
Mhm.
of carbon.
Yes, but rocks are also not life.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So there's a difference there.
No.
So it doesn't need anything to live. Rock can live in space.
Right, but we
Rock
can't. We're
so
made
there's
up
things
of
that
carbon.
can live in different circumstances because they don't require certain things.
I know, but if your argument is that because you live here, you breathe oxygen. So wouldn't what about trees?
Okay.
They produce oxygen
Yes.
and they breathe in carbon monoxide
Yes.
or dioxide.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they have a different apparatus system for breathing.
Yes. But
Why aren't they
the
breathing?
connections together. So maybe I mean, that kind of makes a little sense now. So the trees technically would need us to live. So if everything that breathed, is it breathe or breath or what's the word? Is it breathe? It's not breathe. That sounds weird. But continue. Regardless of the words, right? If everything that breathed air were to die, trees are now dead. Because without carbon dioxide,
I think that
the trees would not have what we also need, which is air. So they can't produce the air, which means nothing's producing the carbon dioxide, which means dead.
I don't think that would ever happen, though.
So, but but now I'm gonna put the next part in. So now this other thing, let's say it needs, I don't know, let's just say it needs water, and something else produces water, but it needs the gas that comes from this thing that produces, this thing produces the gas, this thing produces the water, so they feed off of each other. And that's going on in some other planet. And somehow that now can fuse together with how we do, and now can generate a new life, like how the rock is here. It doesn't need the air, but it needs something that something else is giving. Say carbon from us.
Let me give you another.
So now it's the cycle of life.
Yeah, but let me give you another point.
So cycles need to join it.
You're missing something there, Greg. We think, like you just gave an alien entity the same characteristics of Earth.
I was using
I know
circumstance so we didn't create a name.
I know that. But it's from an idea that you learned here. Alien means something outwardly from like on another world. It may not even operate on the same things that we understand here. It can be
that's
something
why I just
totally
gave
different.
it to an example of what we know. I can't give you an example of something we don't know unless I make a name.
That's what I'm saying. But that idea is flawed.
No, not completely.
Yeah, because you're saying that it needs something over there from something.
It doesn't have to be energy.
Right.
It can be anything.
Right.
So if we believe that space is a vacuum, it's got to suck something, right? So if there's nothing to suck, then how is it a vacuum? So that's my point. There always has to be something complementing it.
No, hang on, Greg.
That makes total sense. If there's nothing for a vacuum to suck, there is no vacuum.
Are you sure it's the same kind of vacuum you're thinking?
I'm just saying in general.
No.
Obviously, I don't have the concepts down.
That's what I'm saying.
But there has to be conjoining things.
Well, hang on.
It's not just...
If it's a vacuum, it's called vacuum because there's nothing there. It's a vacuum of nothing.
Exactly, but nothing is still a something. Do you understand that? Nothing, yes. As in nothing.
It's the absence of something. Great.
Exactly, so therefore it is
the absence.
Something. Technically on its own.
I get it, but I don't know why you're arguing that.
Because it still needs, that's the thing. Something complements nothing. There was always a complementary to everything.
That's nature. That's the nature.
So that's what I'm trying to explain about like other world concept, how things.
But we don't know that.
It's just like fish and water complement each other, but human and water, salt water.
Let's say
don't complement.
Let's say that it's another parallel universe. Let's say that is reality. That there's another parallel universe that is not the same as here. That interdimensional aliens, they're not bound by the same rules as this universe.
Yes, but if they were to come to this universe, then they are bound by those rules.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen them.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this concept, the whole freshwater fish and saltwater fish. You can't just swap them, they die.
What about...
So that's the point. Like, you can't just take a world human and a Mars human and swap, because they would die because they don't have what they need.
But I have a counterpoint to that. There's sharks that they travel in between.
Exactly. There are capabilities or for lack of better words, you're going to freak out, a mutation.
Why am I going to freak out?
Because I used the word that I was disagreeing with. So there's something that is connecting them. It's the they can survive
They
in
just
both
adapted.
aspects.
They adapted.
There's something that was connected that now makes it work.
They adapted.
And I
Like,
guess
they
in some
were-
sort of way,
They just adapted.
they're still able to get what they need, but they're doing it in a different way than those other two types are.
Yeah.
So but what they need is still in both of those locations. So just because the shark can go in the salt and the water, he can't live on land. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
what he
really.
still needs is in both of those locations.
But I don't know how that's
But they
relevant.
are different.
Yeah, but I don't know how that's relevant to.
So I'm just saying that we can't just say, oh, we can survive where these other people are surviving.
No.
Yeah, that's mainly
Yeah, I
where I
don't-
was going at.
Yeah.
And that's
Like,
interesting.
okay, like that's why
we may
Alex
end up
Jones.
finding aliens, and maybe
Alex
there are
Jones.
aliens, but they understand that concept. They can't live here. They can't get to us.
Alex
They
Jones
can't do anything to
talks
us.
about interdimensional aliens.
Yeah. But see, that's the point, though. Maybe that kind of thing exists, and maybe other aliens have been watching us, but maybe that's all they can do.
It's been
Because they
watching
can't
us.
survive here. They can't live here. There's no connection there's no, like, for the lack of a better thing, like, their type of air, the thing that keeps them alive,
War of
is
the
not
Worlds.
here, and they can't produce it to live here.
Yeah, War of the Worlds.
It's just like we can't live in the bottom of the ocean, but those fish that live down there are perfectly fine down there. So it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where, like,
Have you ever
there's
seen
no
War
connection.
of the Worlds, Greg?
the aliens were here.
No.
The aliens
The
came
War- Yeah, they
Or
came
were they
here.
robots?
No,
they were
It was
aliens.
aliens that
got
came here and they died because they were exposed to our bacteria.
Yeah. So yes, it can be that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, like, but maybe it's something different where they understand they can't live here because it's lacking something they have to have. So maybe that's one of the things that have
What if-
protected us for so long,
What if it's
or something
another?
like that. Or maybe the other planets, like, we understand that we only have a certain amount of time to get somewhere. So those planets are safe because we don't live that long. So until we find the gap to get there quicker, they're safe. They're good. But that's crazy for me to think about. That maybe that kind of, like,
I
maybe
don't
people
know.
already know that other planets and life exists. It's just we don't have the capabilities.
Why wouldn't they
to
just
do
say
it.
something?
Maybe for the reason of
Religion.
many reasons.
Religion.
That, or causing panic, or maybe there's more
They would
underlying.
answer. They would answer the question of, "We're not alone."
Maybe they want to be able to have everything ready before putting it out. This is just like that.
Or
If
we
you
have-
have a business and you have the idea, and then tomorrow you buy a location and you just open shop tomorrow, like, it doesn't make any sense. You're gonna fail. Maybe that's the same thing.
But what
They
if-
want everything in line so they can present it in the best possible way without panic and have it successful. Because we don't, like, if we were to tell you that there were aliens out there and the only thing protecting us right now is that they don't have the technology to be able to get here, but they are murderous beings within the galaxy, but they can't live over here, so that's the only thing protecting us.
People would say,
People would panic all
yeah,
the time.
but people would be like, "Okay, Space Force, yay,
Sure.
Space Force."
But maybe there are people already doing things like that.
Is that
But
why
they
we
don't
have
have
Space
panic anymore.
Force?
Because the majority of people are, in the sense of protecting the greater good, the majority of people aren't doing that. The majority of people just don't care.
They don't care what.
About it, like, things in general. Like, they
Like
just,
what?
like, most people just want to live a life and deal with what's in front of them right here.
I think that's all people can do.
And see, that's the point, though. There are some people who do have the strength and the want and the will to do more than that,
But do they?
and can think in a bigger picture.
Do they?
There are tons
Who?
of people who do that.
Like
Tons
who?
of people.
Give me an example.
Like, regardless if you agree with people in power or not, they still are trying to build something, regardless if it's good or bad.
Okay.
Like, regardless, obviously, majority of people don't believe that Hitler was a good person. he did some things that have technically improved, like medical things that have improved the world. But he
did it
had
in
done
a
so much
horrendous
garbage
way.
things. But if you look at it, he led like a huge army, and the whole world had to go against him to take him down.
Yeah, but he was also killing people.
But the point is that he had a bigger picture to try to get what he wanted, and he did a pretty good job of what he wanted to do.
Not really, because
He didn't do something good. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But for what he wanted to do, he did a pretty good job.
Okay, what was it that he wanted to do?
He wanted to take over the world, and it took the whole world to stop him. Can you say that about anyone else in history? Like maybe Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, for sure. He conquered all of Asia.
Apparently 2% of the world can tie back their family tree to being part of Genghis Khan. Like Genghis Khan was, because he just raped and pillaged everyone and just had kids everywhere. That's crazy. 2% of the world.
That's a lot.
There's no one near any percentage
That's
you
a
could
lot.
track back. That's crazy, dude.
See?
But see, that's the point, though. Like, regardless of good or bad, there are people who think bigger picture than most people.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. There's always been those people, but how many people have been able to do it?
Yeah, no, but I think there are
Like,
people who
other than Hitler and Genghis Khan, who else was able to do something like that?
something big that's taken over. Google, Apple.
But those are business wise.
They've taken over almost everything. Google
But
is
in
information.
business, yes, but okay.
Google taught you more than school, and you can't even think about it that way.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
No, because I don't Google something every day.
Regardless, you are using their service in some facet of your day.
Now, because I run a business, maybe. But before that, no. I wasn't really on Google. Before the internet.
I don't think like people realize how much all that stuff is taken over. Like you rely on lights. Edison created. Who created the light bulb? Wasn't Edison? Was it? He did electricity,
Thomas
right?
Edison. Yeah.
He did electricity, not the light bulb.
No, So he took credit.
And Tesla was electricity.
No, he took credit for the electricity.
Who?
Somebody else it was his colleague who created the bulb. Edison perfected it.
And that changed everything. We're no longer reliant on fire for everything.
Not everything. It changed the way it changed this, like electricity, the way we run things, networks, lighting. Yeah.
So like, regardless if things are good or bad, you do have a lot that changes in general. Like
everything changes. Everything changes.
Yes, and so I don't know where I'm going with it, but it's just crazy to think about.
I don't know where you're going with it.
There's just so much crazy ways to think about things that, like, just ridiculous. Like, looking at small things that could change everything. Like looking at the staircase here.
Okay.
Like, the handrail changed so many people's lives. You tripped on a handrail in a crucial spot, say the Grand Canyon, and there's a handrail there now where it wasn't there 100 years ago.
People were falling off the cliff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now that handrail, so insignificant, half the time doesn't do anything. Just changed 100 people's lives.
I mean, that's not insignificant. That's
no,
huge.
I know, but like, it's crazy. Just a lot of the little things, like even sometimes where, like when we were kids, we wanted to go eat at this Burger King, and we were just all day. Like we woke up really early in the morning because it was a brand new Burger King, new playground, was right down the street from the house. We wanted to just go hang out there.
Where was it?
On 17th.
So you grew up around that area?
Yeah, I was right next to the Fantastic
Oh, no
Cafe.
wonder you thought. No wonder you thought Orange County was just what you knew. You grew up here, dude. And you haven't. Well, you traveled.
I've,
a little
yeah, I've been out of the country, but
Yeah.
but like even there, it didn't necessarily feel like I was across the world in this crazy new
Are
land.
you
or
kidding?
something.
You went to Peru, dude.
Yeah, I know, but like I understood that I wasn't in the United States, and I understood that I didn't speak the language. But like when I woke up in the morning and like I look at the sky, like I wasn't like, oh, like this sky is different.
Well, yeah.
Like
you're
these
still on
stars
Earth.
are different. Like nothing seemed different.
You were
except
still,
for the people
you're
around.
Still on Earth, bro.
No, I know, but like
You see what I'm saying?
you would still think that like
Did you go to
this
Machu
is
Picchu?
weird.
That's why. If you would have gone to Machu Picchu, you would have been like, "What the heck is this?"
I don't know.
There,
like-
you would have climbed up there, and you would have been thinking about the stones that were carved in a perfect way that technology nowadays can't even replicate. You would have tripped out. You would have been like, "What is happening?" You should have taken some ayahuasca. See if you were still in Kansas, bro.
Those-
You would have been like, "Oh, Dad, we're not in Kansas anymore."
no, I don't know. It's just
Look, dude, I went to Sedona. I took a trip to Sedona, and it blew my mind. Nothing like Orange County. It was all orange, but there was a lot of green. There was more water than I thought there would be, and it had cool rock formations. Totally different from Orange County. I didn't even believe that it was the United States anymore. Like in some parts of the desert. Like you go, okay, another
Hey, have
thing.
you been to the Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
I've been there, and I didn't necessarily feel like
You weren't
The world was
taken
different.
aback?
like it was cool looking and everything, but like
You weren't taken back that I'm like,
I didn't
whoa,
feel
this
like-
thing exists. This fissure exists. It's not even a fissure. It's like I guess
canyon.
it's a canyon, but it came from a
It
a
would used
river.
to be an ocean,
It was a river.
but then your mom did a cannonball.
It was- that was a
Oh.
latest joke. Bro.
Oh.
Not even funny.
Uh,
So, I mean, it was just carved by water. That's crazy to think.
even
Thousands of
that,
years ago.
even that is people don't believe.
What, the Grand Canyon?
Yeah,
Okay, those people are just trolling, dude.
no, I don't.
Well, if they don't believe it because they haven't been there.
See, I don't know. There's just so much that like I think you can use science to prove and disprove so much that without being there in the time, you can't really like be like, oh yeah, this is what it was.
Well,
So it was like,
science does not disprove that there was water because you can see in every layer of crust or layer of rock that has been laid over years, thousands of years. You know, the
Yeah,
sand
well,
travels
but
and
some
it gets
people,
stuck, and then sand goes on top of it and
Yeah.
it stacks up into.
but some people were saying that like that would have been a trench, as in like that was the ocean had been there, and that would have been a trench rather than maybe the Grand Canyon was a giant river. Like the water had gone up to that point and stayed there, and it was just a giant river and water went down. But they're also saying that the ocean was there, so there was water above it as well. So that would have just been a canyon of water
If it was
with the ocean up.
But why is there a river now? Why is there still a river?
Oh, because
wouldn't
water
have gone
flows from
one?
mountains and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's more plausible that it's a river that's been there for thousands of years, coming from mountains.
I think that the world does change,
It does
but
definitely.
I don't necessarily think that like all of a sudden one day just like all the water evaporated and froze, or all
It
the
wasn't.
polar ice caps melted, and then
It
the
wasn't-
world just was so devastated. I think we just eventually moved.
It wasn't just right. It wasn't just one overnight.
Yeah, it's like
It took years. It took thousands of years.
what's that one place where the town is built on water? It's in Europe somewhere.
The town
is built on water, and like everyone just uses boats and.
You mean
What's
in
it called?
Italy?
Yeah,
The
I think it's
gondola?
Italy.
Yeah, like the gondolas.
Yeah, so the
rivers?
water now is getting higher, and now like the bottom floors of the buildings get flooded when it's high tide. So like they don't use the bottom floors of the buildings anymore. Like that's fine. I mean it's not necessarily fine. Sure, the water has risen, but like it didn't just rise overnight.
No,
like,
it's
This is the thing, and
years.
it's taking time.
Right.
So it's like those people have the time and understanding to move.
Right.
Or figure out another way to live there. So it's not like, oh shoot, the world's dying and blowing up and disappearing and this is the end of it and like
No, they're not saying
like
that.
it's just
Well,
the world is adjusting.
They phrase it
Like it
that way.
always does.
They phrase it that way because people think that we should try to change it now instead of just being lazy and waiting until later.
Well, it's just like where we live. If we didn't come and produce this land to be like this, it would be a desert.
Here?
Yeah.
Well,
We brought life.
Here-
We brought water. We brought
yeah.
the growth of what we see now. It wouldn't have been like this.
No.
This stuff wouldn't have looked like this. Like, I'm not saying like building. I'm saying like the plants that are here and all that kind of stuff. Like, that stuff changes just like anywhere in the world with what's here. It's almost as if resources don't actually completely disappear. They're just moved in different areas.
Over time?
Yeah. So it's like if you take a bunch of like beads and put the beads in here and you have them resting, they'll be in the same spot. But then when you go like this, they'll be in a different spot, but they're still here. That's kind of what I feel like with the Earth. They're like,
Well, yeah, there's the
yeah, but
they
people are
don't
saying
go out
that.
to space.
But that's what they're trying to say with the whole world about like,
What?
oh, the water's rising, so it's the end
No,
of
they're
time.
just
It's like,
saying-
no, you just need to move now.
They're just saying that the ice caps are melting and that it's rising the water. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but what the hell? It was raining today in
But, like-
Southern California in the summer.
But yeah,
What was that about?
Oh, I woke up and I heard it. I thought it was the air conditioning dripping.
What was that about? Oh, I woke up today and I was
No, but see,
No,
like things like
it's
that
tripping me
to
out.
some people, like they're scared of that. Like when people are like, "What? It's summer and there's rain?" Like that to me, it's not like weird.
I mean, it's a little
It's like-
weird.
It rained, okay.
Well, it's not.
Like, can
Right.
you explain what rain is? Sure. Okay.
Yeah, but
Did all those circumstances happen? Yeah. Okay, so then rain
why did
should
they
have happened.
But why are the circumstances happening?
Because everything that leads up to that happened.
But why during summer when there's usually no rain?
Because the things happen and usually it doesn't happen.
You
It's
just
not
saying
like some
chance?
new. I don't know all the
That's what I'm
purposes to
saying.
make rain. Like, sure, something weird may have happened, but I mean, does weird mean that it couldn't happen?
No, we're just saying that. Why did it happen at this point in time?
Things changed.
Is it that
Yeah,
you're
has to
saying
be.
yes, like or
it has to
you're- but does it have to be that way, or is
be.
it?
Yes,
or
something
is
had
there-
to have changed for it to have happened.
Or is there another possibility?
I mean, there are processes to how rain happens. So all those processes had to have lined up to happen.
Yes, but
So
why
something
in
changed
summer?
to where that day.
Why did it
happened.
change? Why is it summer? Why is it 99 degrees outside with like 70% humidity? Why? Why now? Why is it getting hotter?
The same reason it rains on any other day. Because
Not
all those
really.
processes lined up on those days.
Yes, but we have every year, they're called April showers.
Hmm.
Every year, every winter, you have snow.
But like, think
Why
about,
do we not have snow right now?
like, sure, we regulate our life based off of time and based off of seasons, right?
Well,
And if we didn't agree that those
time, not seasons.
well, sure.
Time.
What if we didn't need to base seasons, time, dates, any of that? We just lived by the day-to-day basis of night and day. Whatever the next day had coming was going to be coming regardless if we thought of it as a summer or a winter time, right?
Sure.
So like,
but
in that sense,
but
it doesn't matter.
Sure, but over time there has been a pattern,
An understanding of a pattern.
a pattern of, for some reason, for these 3 months it snows, so let's call it winter. Then it's spring, and then it's summer, and because it's always hot,
Mm-hmm.
it's been happening since the beginning of time. But since people started observing and they saw the pattern, they started putting a name to it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you're right, but at the same time, there has been a pattern over thousands of years where it's been raining in April. Now we call it April, wherever April comes from. It was raining, so we call it April showers. Or summer.
Well, yeah,
and
but
then
it's like
just hot. But like right now,
before-
it's summer. We're in Southern California. The humidity is not supposed to be this high. I mean, I think we have higher humidity than anywhere else.
Yeah, but like with that,
not than anywhere else, but like, Florida, I'm sure has its ton more.
let's say that this is just correct, since we don't have the actual understanding to explain it. So let's just say, because the ice caps are melting, the water's rising over here, which means that the water's rising over here, then that's going to be affecting something that then can change to affect why it's raining here. That would make sense. So just because it doesn't normally happen, and now it's happening, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means it's happening different because things are shifting.
Yes, but the question is, why are they shifting? And why are they shifting faster and faster?
Because someone shook it.
Who shook it?
For lack of a better word. Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a person, it could be a concept. Like maybe the piece of ice melted the wrong way, which then created the next
The
thing.
butterfly effect.
It's just what is happening. Sure, there could be other things that are making it do that.
They're contributing to it.
But I don't think that it's going to end something specific. Like,
yeah, but you see, you're saying think, and
everything is think, everything is theory, because there's nothing that's known.
Well, there's known, gravity's known.
Okay, you know of gravity, but you don't know how it was created or how it became. So maybe you don't actually understand gravity. You understand it to a certain bit.
I guess we know. Yeah, we just whatever.
So,
yeah.
So then you would have to explain gravity to me.
Hang on.
You don't understand gravity.
Well, not me, because I'm not a scientist.
I know, but that's my point. When I'm saying I think, it's the same thing. I can't explain it completely.
No. Yes, I get that. But Einstein did understand it.
Did he though? Like,
yeah.
He had concepts of it, but he doesn't know how it's created.
Well, he didn't say that. Nobody knows how the
so
Earth
then
was
we
created.
can't understand it completely.
But we understand how it functions.
That's why we don't know. We understand how the body functions, but we don't understand why we're here. Like, what's the point in our body functioning?
Obviously, that's the biggest question.
I know. So
nobody knows that answer.
Then that's the thing. Like, you don't know everything about anything. Like, there's nothing that's known. Like, what the frick is
but now you're going to go the rabbit hole. We're talking about the theory of scientific proof of whatever the process that rains. We know why that happens. Yeah. Scientists have proven certain things like...
Yeah, so that's what I was saying about all those processes came so that rain happened. Yes. So if you were to go back and see that it rained yesterday, you could look at all those processes that happened. That's what I was saying.
But why is it happening in summer is the question.
Same reason it happened in the winter.
That's
Because
not
the
the same
process is
reason.
lined up.
I understand that, but why summer? It
So
doesn't
maybe-
usually happen.
Let's
That's
just
the
say
question.
let's just say there's a 3-step process for rain. Obviously, this is not correct, but let's say that heat needs to melt something to then evaporate and then rain happens. Okay, that's what happens. Okay,
You mean
so
condensation?
maybe we, instead of the sun, created heat that melted the thing that now water came up and now it's raining. So sure, that's fine, but that's the process. So maybe if we change us from heating it so it's a natural way, that's fine. But just because we heated something that now evaporated and rain came down doesn't mean that that rain is acid rain and we're going to die.
Well, no one said that.
No, I know, but that's
just
my point. Like,
we're just wondering why it's getting hotter. Why is it getting? Why are the climates shifting? Why are there like a ton of Katrinas happening? Did they always happen? Has it been happening for ages? Did we not know? Or are they just happening more now?
is it the end times, like the Bible says? There's going to be more famines and more this and that. Like, there's so many questions out there. No one has answers to any of them except for what we do have known, that these things are happening. And this is why this thing is happening. But
I think you just contradicted that point.
what point?
You just said that
Like, we understand how a hurricane works,
yeah.
but why is a hurricane happening now when it didn't happen last time?
Yeah. That's a good question. I'm not a scientist, I don't know.
But the hurricane can only happen when certain things line up. So regardless if we were the thing that made those circumstances line up or the natural thing that made those
Okay, let's say
circumstances line
that we are the people, we are the things that made it happen.
up. Mm-hmm.
What would you change?
Do we have to change anything necessarily?
Well, let's say that.
I mean, if there's
Let's-
I've never been in a hurricane, so maybe we just need to adjust where
you know
people
what
live.
I heard? You know what I heard?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why you would want to live in an area that every year you have to leave and hope your house doesn't get blown down. Like, I live in California, and sure, there's earthquakes, but pretty sure that there has been less damage and less destruction from the earthquakes over time than there has been from tornadoes and hurricanes.
Not true.
How many devastating earthquakes
A
have
lot.
happened here compared to how many tornadoes have happened in wherever tornadoes happen?
The
Kansas.
earthquake of 1949.
You don't think there's been more destruction from tornadoes in Kansas than there has been destruction from earthquakes in California?
Nope.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
You want to
I-
research it because
we
now
can.
you should research it.
That's why I said I don't think you know what you're talking about.
No, I do because it was called the earthquake of what 19? Is it 19?
One earthquake, right? Yeah.
1929.
Talking about the bad one in LA, right?
No, I'm talking about the one in San Francisco
Okay.
where it burnt the whole city down.
Okay.
All of San Francisco. You've been to San Francisco?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it burnt the whole thing to the
But
ground.
there's tornadoes every year that are devastating Kansas
Look at the lives that died.
in one swoop. Yes.
Yeah.
And how many
What
of those have
about
happened?
Northridge?
And
What
how many of
about
those have happened?
a lot?
But that's my point. Like, there's not as many earthquakes that destroy as much as tornadoes.
Now, no, because our technology has improved. We've adapted our technology.
Yes. So it's not that the earthquake is killing them. It's the things around them dropping on them that's killing them. The tornado itself is destroying and murdering everything in its path. That's like,
Well, why don't they just make better buildings?
because you can't make a better building to
Yes, you
not
can.
get destroyed by a goddamn
Yes, you
tornado,
can.
dude.
Yes, you can.
I
They
don't
just
know.
live in sheds, bro.
Well, we'll both have to look this thing up, but
I'm
that's
telling
my
you.
point, though. Like, would you rather be around an earthquake that might happen? Like, there's never been a bad earthquake the whole time I've lived, and there have been tons and tons of bad tornadoes.
Not here.
Not here, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, why would you live in a place like that consistently? Like, why don't you move away from it?
Because all your family's there?
Exactly, but that's not the point. Like, the world is shifting. These things are happening. Move. Don't stay where the problem is.
Okay. Wouldn't you consider what's happening in America now a problem?
Which
Like this toxic. It's toxic America.
Are you talking about how people are
Information?
being?
Yeah.
Sure.
Why don't we just move?
Because it's still better than the other.
Better than the other countries?
Yes.
That's why they don't move. They're not gonna come over
No, I'm not
here.
saying go to a different country.
Yeah.
I'm saying go to a safer area.
We're safe in the
Like,
Midwest.
just because you lived right on the ocean the whole time, if the ocean's rising, you don't stay there. You move more inland.
But it does not happening overnight.
These tornadoes and stuff are. That's my point. Like,
Well,
you're
that's
missing the point.
no. It's because you're arguing one thing over another, and they're two different things. They created bunkers. They have safety things to go in there. That's why they became a thing. They created bunkers to avoid tornadoes. That they did that. Why didn't they move?
Get the bunker.
Why didn't they move?
Yeah.
Because it takes money to move. Are you gonna secure a job somewhere else? What's gonna happen to your kids' school?
Sure,
They're gonna
but
have to make new.
I would rather deal with those things than deal with the tornado.
You
killing
would
me.
rather leave your only house that you were able to buy with your hard-earned money to a place where you don't even know if you're gonna have a job?
If this place is dangerous,
Well,
they're probably
you're
gonna kill me 3
crazy.
times a year.
Well, maybe you're just not like them. Maybe that's why you don't live in the Midwest.
It just, I don't know. It's like, would you rather like live in? Let's say there's this city where there's guarantee 5 people die every night. But you're like, I've lived here my whole life. But you could move to the city where no people die every night, but
Some
just kind of
people
live
do.
on the street. You have food, you have drinks. Like, you're comfortable in the sense of you have everything you need outside of having like a home. Like, you have enough food,
Okay.
and you have enough drink,
But let me
you
tell
have,
you this.
but no one dies. Like,
Let me tell you
wouldn't you
this.
rather be somewhere
let me
where
tell you this.
you have
It's
a guarantee
really-
of not dying?
No, let me tell you this. It's really easy to say it when we're sitting here in couches, comfortable, as opposed to actually living in the Midwest without knowing.
I'm not saying that's the only place you can move to. I'm just, we're using
know what
2
I'm saying?
examples.
But it's really easy to say it because we don't live there. It's really easy to say, why don't they just move? You know what I mean? You don't know how much it's a part of them as Orange County is a part of you. You didn't know anything else other than Orange County most of your life.
Sure, but I understood that there's no danger, and we're talking about those
That's what
specific
you didn't-
dangers with the earthquake and the tornado. We're
Okay,
not talking about,
no, okay.
sure, yeah, there's dangers because there's gangs down the
let
street.
me give you another example. Surfing. People get attacked by sharks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they still surfing?
I have no goddamn
There you
clue.
go. There you go. Because it's a part of them. It's a part of their culture.
Yeah, because they believe that the likelihood it doesn't apply to them.
Or flying. What about flying?
Apparently, flying is safer than cars. So
That's what I'm saying. But it
There's no
still
issue.
possesses a threat. And people still fly every day. What about a car? You drive a car.
Mhm.
Why don't you just not drive?
Well, I drive cautiously, unlike some people.
What? Like what?
You don't use blinkers. You don't drive nicely towards
I drive-
other people.
I drive nicely.
Oh, no. I drive like a grandma. Not essentially being so slow that you're going to get hit.
Wow.
But like, I turn my blinker on and wait like 10 seconds before merging
Okay,
lanes
yeah.
so that
Okay.
the jackass behind
I'll
me
give
can
you
speed
that.
up and
I'll
get
give you
past
that. Greg uses a blinker in an empty highway.
me. You use a blinker on a busy highway.
I
You
know.
use a blinker because that's the whole point of it.
In an empty highway.
It doesn't matter. What if that one jackass, like our friend who had a Celica before, decides he wants to go 130 miles an hour, and now who you thought was so far behind is now right next to you? Because you
So
decided that
he's-
you were going to
it's
turn
gonna
a
change
couple seconds
his-
back.
It's going to change his trajectory because you put
No,
on a
it
blinker.
changes your trajectory because he now knows that you're going to that lane, so he can
What
prepare
about
himself.
what about the people who put on the blinker, but it's on the opposite side of where they're going?
Well, then they messed up, and they shouldn't have done that.
But they put a blinker on.
Yes, and those are mistakes.
That's what I'm saying. Like you.
But that's a mistake. That's the difference between not doing something and making a mistake. If say your wife told you to clean the car, you have 2 cars. What if both cars were here and you cleaned the wrong one? That's a mistake. Didn't mean that you didn't clean a car. Didn't mean you did the wrong thing. Technically, you did. You still did the task
I
that was
don't know what
presented to
you're
you.
arguing.
I'm just saying that you're trying to say that would still be wrong. That the blinker was wrong because they did it the wrong way.
I'm saying is don't be a pussy and
No,
just
see, now-
if you don't freaking if there's an empty highway and I know for a fact 'cause I check my mirrors good and I actually look over the shoulder.
But now
If there's
listen
no
to what you're
car
saying.
there, why? I'm not gonna always like. Sometimes I'm just gonna forget and I put the blinker. But I
But
check.
the argument that you're making is just because there's no one around, now I don't need to do it.
It's not that I don't need to do it. It's that sometimes you just don't do it. Like sometimes.
So why don't you do it? You know you're supposed to. You know you should.
So
you know it's courteous. You know it's the right thing.
I understand
You're
you're
deciding,
a law-abiding.
I don't want to
citizen.
do it anymore because I'm a badass now. Look at me. Like
I'm sure that there's
do it because it's the right goddamn thing to do.
Yes, but that only applies when there's people there.
No, it doesn't apply
Yes.
to people there.
You're in the middle of the desert. You're gonna put your blinkers when you
I
make
do.
a turn in the desert.
I do.
For what?
If there's lanes, I do. If you're in the middle of a
Let's
desert
say you're
where there are no driving
Okay.
directions and rules,
Let's say
then
that let's say that you are in a trail, in a dirt trail. You put on your blinkers.
if there
If what?
if there are
If
roads,
there are
yes.
people there. Why?
If there are roads, because there are rules to roads
Why?
that people will
People,
understand, and
because
because
there's people
there should be no cars in
Because
a
there's
random
people.
ass desert like that.
But what if there's that one jackass who's a hillbilly who's in wrong turn number 10, and
But
this
there are
is
no lanes.
starring Greg.
This is what I'm saying. There's no lanes in
So
in
just
there.
because there's
no,
lanes, it changes the law.
does change.
But isn't it the
completely.
right thing to put on blinkers?
No, because the law isn't. It's not the law. It's the concept of what it's
Why
supposed
don't
to
planes
do.
use blinkers?
Because just because you're turning on a blinker
Why don't-
in a place where there's no lanes,
why don't planes,
what does that mean?
Why don't planes use blinkers, Greg?
Why don't planes use blinkers?
Yeah.
Because they use a different system.
And they know that there's no
Because
planes
there's a different system
about
in
to crash
place.
on them.
Yes, because they have what they call a
Anyway,
control
the
tower.
point is
So they know where the planes are
the
going.
point is
That's
so
why planes don't just land when they get there. They wait in line. One guy's not like, nah, I don't want to wait in line this time, aka blinker. They just go.
that makes no sense.
Yes.
No.
You're skipping the step that you should be doing
Putting on
to
a
make
blinker.
sure that the process of being
Okay,
safe
let's
is in
say you
place.
have a car with no blinkers. What? Now what?
You should be driving, and you're not allowed to drive.
Are you sure?
Yes.
There's grandfathered cars with no blinkers.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
Have you
fine,
ever seen
fine.
Jeeps?
Sure. Let's say they don't
Military
work.
Jeeps.
There is a process to it. There are hand
is what?
signals.
Okay.
You're supposed to do the hand signals to specify which way you're supposed to go. If you're stopping,
In an
if
empty
you're going.
highway.
Yes, motorcycles have
In an empty highway.
all the time. You should be doing
Do
it.
you see people in an empty highway
Do I
put
see?
on
No,
blinkers?
because I see people also not put blinkers on normally.
I think this is way too crazy.
Some people don't put
You're
blinkers
just
on and they
arguing-
don't even check.
Look.
They just look once and boom.
Look, Greg. It's just you're arguing for the sake of arguing.
No,
Yes.
no. Are you saying that
You're
using a
saying-
blinker is wrong? Using a blinker is the correct
Are you
way of doing
imposing
it.
that?
Correct.
In doing what?
In driving,
Driving
you should be using
in
your
a
blinker
parking lot.
when you move lanes.
In a parking lot.
When you
Do you-
move lanes.
In a parking lot. Do you
There are
put blinkers?
specific times you don't have to use blinkers.
That's what I'm
Where it's
saying.
a left turn only.
And
or
when there's
right
no
turn
cars
only.
around you,
Or-
you put no blinkers.
No. There are specific times you don't use blinkers.
In
Where
the
it's a
parking
left
lot.
turn only,
What
right
about
turn
parking
only,
lot, Greg?
like a stop, you don't use blinker, obviously.
What about a parking lot?
What about a parking
You
lot?
use blinkers in a parking
It
lot?
depends on the situation because
If there's people around.
But what's the situation?
If there's
Am I
people-
parked? No, I'm not using a blinker.
Okay, let's say
Because
you're
I'm not
driving.
turning anymore.
Let's say you're driving into an empty parking lot at night, middle of the night with no cars. You put in your blinkers.
Yeah.
You put on your blinkers.
If I'm turning right or if I'm turning left, where
You
there's
put that
multiple lanes,
100%.
I do. Yeah. There are times where I don't
There you
because
go.
I make a mistake.
You make a mistake.
Yes. But when people decide that I'm not going to use a blinker because there's no one around,
You're arguing
that's
for the sake of
different.
arguing.
no, because you're saying that you don't use a blinker because you don't want to use it. Where I'm saying
I'm not
I make the
saying that. I'm
mistake
saying
and
that
forget to
there's
use
no
it.
cars around me for me to tell, hey, I'm going here.
But you make the conscious decision to choose not to use the blinker rather than I forgot to use the blinker. Correct?
Yes, because I'm not
See,
a pussy.
That's my point, though. But see, now what you're saying is you're a badass because you're not using the blinker.
I'm not
because
saying
you
that.
consciously know that you should.
You're saying you're better for using a blinker.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I'm using the correct protocol to make
Which
it
is
safe for
what?
everyone who's
Better?
going to be there.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Are you right now virtue signaling that you're better for using a blinker
No,
in a parking
I'm
lot at the
saying
middle
the
of the night?
process is better.
It doesn't affect anything if
It
there's no
does.
person there.
Sure, it doesn't affect anyone if there's no one
So
there.
why does it
But-
matter?
Because it's the process that you should be sticking to.
Why?
Because you also don't
Why?
use it
Why?
when there are people.
But
there.
why?
Like I
Okay,
just said,
if there's people there, I'll use the blinker.
you don't.
Always? You've been there
Majority
all,
of the time.
you've
I can't
been
say I'm always there.
then you're wrong.
Come on.
You're wrong.
You just told me though.
What?
Like you just told me like right there
What?
that
You're not
you
always
don't use
in the
blinker.
car with me.
No, I know.
You've probably been how many rides in the past 2 years?
And how many times did I tell you?
Well, you're a backseat driver, period. So you call out, oh, you didn't even look. Oh, this. Oh, that.
Yeah,
You're
because
just a backseat driver.
I don't want to die.
Greg, you drive like a grandma. In fact, if you look at statistics, people who drive slower are in more car crashes.
I don't drive slower.
You don't?
No, I drive at majority of the time I drive at
At
the proper
65.
speed. At the proper speed.
At
majority-
65?
Huh?
At 65?
It depends on where I am. Sometimes it is 70.
Why are you going 70? That's not the law. That's
It
not the
is.
process.
It is.
No, it's not.
If it says 70
It
miles
says
an hour.
65 miles per hour.
Somewhere at 70,
is the
that's what I
limit.
just said.
Where?
And speed
Every
limits are different
highway-
everywhere. So there are 65, there are 35, there are 25, there are 5, there are 10s, there are even 75s I've seen.
Where?
In the
Okay,
it's in the
let's
middle
say
of nowhere,
it's the
like on the road
5.
Colorado.
Let's say it's the 5, and they're all 65 on the 5.
Okay, we'll
Do
say
you drive over 65?
I do sometimes, yeah.
Okay, why? Because you messed up?
Yeah, I shouldn't be driving over
So
65.
you're admitting that you messed up?
Yeah.
So you would rather drive faster and endanger more people than not use a blinker?
But there is also a process to that,
Which is what?
which is if you need to keep up with traffic,
And let's say
You
there's
keep
no
up with
traffic. Let's say it's
well
the
then
middle
you
of the
should
night.
not be driving over 65.
Are you driving over 65?
I do, yeah.
More than I use the blinker? Than that you see me use the blinker?
Maybe.
There you go. So why are you casting judgment on me not using the blinker on the few times that you
But see-
ride with me?
But see, that's the
And
point,
then
though. We
you're
should be able to
justified.
cast judgment on those concepts because, like
Should
I
you?
just said, I am doing that wrong.
Should
Just
you?
because,
Should you cast judgment?
yes, you should,
Why?
so that you can improve
Improve what?
whatever you're going for. So, like how you
What
just
are we
said
trying
to
improve
me,
here? What's
You
the
just-
goal of this?
you just said to me,
Yes.
do I go over 65? I said yes. Now
Why?
I'm thinking, oh, I shouldn't be going over 65.
Okay.
Now that puts to me, now stop going over 65.
So let's
So
say
if no one talks about it, no one shares that
Let me give
information,
you,
then they
let me
change
give
it.
you another point. Let's say you were going home late at 10 p.m. on a holiday weekend, and now you're going to go 65, and there's a car behind you going 80 miles an hour
Mhm.
because if there's no cars, you usually go 80 miles an hour. Now you're going to get hit.
No. Not if they're paying attention.
Let's say they're not.
Well, then you can't do anything about that.
Is your blinker going to help?
If you're changing lanes, sure.
Is it?
Yes, because it's telling them.
See?
It's
I'm
telling them from a
you, Greg.
distance.
I'm telling
It's
you,
telling them from a distance, hey, I'm going over here.
Greg, you're arguing for the sake of arguing.
It's not arguing, though.
Are
It's
you not
blat-
arguing?
Are you not arguing?
I'm not.
Because we're doing the same exact thing back and forth right now.
No.
So
I'm
just
giving
because
you
I
a
can
point.
agree to my downfall if you can't agree that you had a downfall by not using the blinker,
I'm saying
then
that
I'm the one arguing and you're not. Like, this is one of the things that bugs me about like a lot of people that I talk to, like mainly my family. They do this all the time where
do what?
where I talk and do the same points back to them, but because they can't take something that
Is it that, or is it that
can
you
do wrong.
just wrong?
Like, I don't use the blinker all the time. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's too late. I didn't use it. I'm not going to do it right now. Sure,
Okay.
I don't do that all the time. That's fine. That's fine, right?
Okay.
So now it's an argument because I pointed out someone else's wrong rather than pointing out a wrong of my own. That was weird.
Well,
Oh.
is it not? Isn't that wrong? Like, why are you casting judgment if no one casting judgment towards you?
Because
That's
we were
wrong.
talking about that at the start.
Well, I wasn't talking about blinkers.
Yeah,
you
we
came up with blinkers.
Yeah, and then we went into the conversation.
Well, I said you don't. If I looked, I don't need to put a blinker if there's no car there.
But why not?
Because I looked and checked that there's no car. There's no one there for me to
Yes.
signal.
But
Like, if
see,
I'm
it's
in
not,
an
it's
empty.
not, the signal's not for you.
If I'm in
The
an
signal's
empty,
for
if you're
anyone
not
who's
listening,
near you.
Greg, if I'm in an empty highway and I don't have blinkers, I'm not going to use a signal because there's nobody around me to signal to.
But what about you have blind spots and things like that? That when people don't
I
use
look-
signals.
I
But-
look at my blind spots.
Yes, but that's the point of blind spots. Have you ever used, like, ever looked and used your mirror and then there's a car there?
I would say when I first
doesn't
started,
happen
when
all
I
the time.
first started driving, sure, because I was just starting to drive. That's become second nature. I look all the time. I don't know what you're talking. Like, you can't say that to me. I look all the time. 100%. I look all the time.
It must just
Maybe-
be me that happens to then.
Maybe you're not using your blinkers correctly. Maybe you're not checking your blind spots.
Well, no,
Greg.
that's always. It's just when you point out someone's wrong, and sometimes they just don't want to agree to it fully. It's thrown out as all you want to do is argue now, and it's not. It's not argument. It's talking about.
So
The
you just
wrong.
wanted me to say I sometimes don't use my blinker.
Yeah, you gotta just
That's
admit it.
exactly what I told you. Sometimes I don't use my blinker because I look and there's no people there to notify.
Yeah, so you made the conscious decision not to do it.
Right.
But you should be.
But you're saying that you
And that's
have
the point.
But you're
And
saying
that's
that
where the
you
argument
have
came.
to. Yes, but you're saying that you have to no matter what. If there's nobody there,
It should be done, yes.
are you the blinker police? Like, this
It
is what I'm
doesn't-
asking.
But it doesn't matter if I'm the blinker police. Should
Why,
you be able
yes,
to
but
let's
why,
put it this way.
but
If
why
that's-
argue about it if you're not the blinker police? Is
If
my
I fine.
point.
If
What's the
I
point?
was the blinker police, I can argue about it.
Yeah, because you
That doesn't
there's
make any sense.
because you were blinker police.
But that doesn't make any sense.
But you should.
Because if I'm
You
the
would have
blinker
authority
police
then.
and I'm correct and I can give you a ticket for this, then is that still wrong even if I wasn't the blinker police?
Did you catch me?
It doesn't matter if you're caught or not.
Why not?
So if I steal everything in your house and you don't catch me, is it fine?
That is not even
It's the
close.
same thing.
How?
It's the same
How
thing.
do
You're
you
saying
go
that
from
you're
stealing-
saying that something
How are
that
you
is
saying
wrong
that
is
stealing
fine
is
if you don't get caught. That's exactly what you said. You said it's fine as long as I don't get caught by the blinker police. That's what you just said.
Are you God?
No,
Are
no,
you
no, no,
judging
no, no.
me right now?
I judge everyone. You judge everyone.
Like, but is that what you're doing?
No,
Like, are
that's
you
not.
playing an authoritative, judgmental person? Like, is that what you're doing right now?
I don't understand.
Because like I said, if you drive at this speed and it's above the law, I'm not gonna say, Greg, you go above the law all the time. What am I gonna gain from that? What are you gaining from this conversation?
It's not necessarily that I would gain anything
So what is the
specifically,
point?
except for having the understanding that, like I said, that I also do the same thing sometimes. That
So
I can do the same by making sure I put my blinker on all the time when I have the conscious decision to do it.
Well, you have
So like how
free
you
will.
pointed out the concept of me going over 65.
Yeah.
Without us talking about your blinker, you would not have ever told me about me going over 65, so I wouldn't have thought about it. So yes, I got value out of that conversation. So you cast judgment just as much as I casted judgment.
I didn't cast. I was just giving you a counterpoint.
So
I
then,
didn't cast judgment.
so then
I don't
didn't
care.
cast judgment either?
I don't care.
No, but that's the
But
point.
you are, because you're saying
Then you are
you
also.
should no.
Because you
I
said the
gave
same
you-
thing back
I
at me
just gave
about
you-
something different.
I gave you a counter argument because you're saying if
But I'm not
you-
saying that you were the only one who does it.
well, you're saying you.
Yes,
You
because
said-
I'm talking to you.
Yes, but you
Or
said
I would be sitting here talking to myself about it.
right, but you said you, and then you said every time I get in the car with you,
Yeah.
you're saying that I do it all the time.
So then I need to generalize and say everyone, and then it's not an argument?
Right, because then why you wouldn't be this conversation wouldn't be about me and you. It would just be about driving.
So if I right now just shift it from you to everyone, there's no more argument? That doesn't make sense. It's still the same thing.
Okay, but there's
The concept's still the
you're
same.
creating conflict.
You're still part of that.
But you're
I'm
creating
still part of
conflict, Greg.
A conflict between you and I because we're speaking about you and I.
Right.
But
There's
what
no
does that
point
matter?
to that. There's no point to that.
We talk about it to each other because we are the ones in the situation. We can't talk about Joe Slow-Mo down the street who does the same
Well,
thing.
you can talk about that.
So then maybe
Well, you
we should
can.
never talk about each other. We should just talk about all these other people.
No,
Because
you
then
can
it's
talk
not
about
casting
whatever you
judgment.
want.
But
But I
that's
gave
my
you-
point.
but I
that
gave-
doesn't make any sense.
I gave you a counter argument.
No. In
I
the same
said-
concept you gave me,
I gave you the same concept
yeah,
that you're telling
and
me.
you were right.
Yes, great. But what I'm telling you, when you picked up the conversation,
Uh-huh.
it wasn't about driving. It wasn't about obeying the law. You said you. In
Okay.
it, like if I would have said,
Because I can apply it to you. I can't apply it to
great. But
someone
I'm
else.
saying like it was more. It was like a hit. It was like a punch. Like I didn't do anything to you. Why are you punching me? Do you understand that?
Okay.
It's like if somebody just played knockout game with you walking down the street and they punched you out of nowhere, wouldn't you be like, what the fuck is this about? What is your point? Why are you punching me? You get
Well,
that?
Sure, I can understand where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But
It's like I didn't
conflict.
yes, but you said you're wrong. No matter what, you have to use a blinker. Okay,
You
Greg.
should, yeah.
Right, but why are you telling me that? Like,
Because we were talking
but
about
you're
you
telling
specifically.
yes, but you said me that you were almost like sure that I do this all the time, and that's not true.
But at the beginning, I said it's not true. I said majority of the time you don't use a blinker.
Okay, but now you're just overgeneralizing it, so it's different. But at the beginning, you said you, and then every time I get in your car, you said it.
No, I never said that.
That's you're gonna see tomorrow when you play it back.
No, I didn't. I pointed you out. Yes, because we are talking.
I get it, but it was for what reason? Like, why would you even pick up this conversation? I don't feel like I gained anything from the conversation.
That's because you aren't. When you can't accept something that you do wrong, you don't pick anything
I'm
up.
telling you, I don't use the blinker sometimes.
I know.
Because there's no one around me.
I know, but you don't think that now thinking about that it is the right process, regardless if it's easier or not.
I'm
you should
not
still
arguing that.
do it when you
I'm
have the
not
conscious
saying that the
decision to
law
do it.
does not apply. But that's what I was saying. But do you follow the law?
And I said no.
So then
So
why?
it comes
Right.
back just as much as me talking to you. That also comes back to me, and I should be thinking the same way. So it's not just a slap to your face that I'm saying, "Oh, you are the only one who does it."
I mean,
I'm slapping myself in the face.
no,
but
but
I'm talking directly to
But
you.
it started that way. It was like us. It was. I'm not like offended because I don't care. Because this is you. This is just for people that don't know. This is Greg in his natural habitat. Like, think shit. Just
But see, like-
you just stir the pot.
Sure, because no one thinks about those kind of concepts with.
I think about it. I'm
well,
just
then
telling you.
why?
I look around and there's no one there. I don't use a blinker.
Yes.
That's my way to do
But
it.
now, can you agree that the conscious decision should be that you use a blinker?
That is the law, Greg. I'm not disputing the law.
No, I'm not saying that that's what the law. The conscious decision should be that you use a blinker?
No.
You don't think that should
I'm
be
saying,
done?
well, no.
You think it's all situational?
It's law.
You think it's situational?
I'm telling you it's the law.
No, but I'm saying, do you think it's situational?
Greg, I'm telling you.
There's no right or wrong answer there.
You're
it's
not
like
listening to me.
I think that it's not situational.
Let me tell you this.
But I think that
it's called,
sometimes you don't do it.
It's the law. You're not supposed to break the law.
Yeah, but I'm not asking about law. I don't care about law at this point. I'm asking you, do you think, like, if this law didn't
If you
exist,
don't even
and
care
we were
about-
sitting here
Hang on,
trying to
man.
decide on what
Hang
the
on,
law
you-
would be.
You just lost me. You probably lost everybody.
No, and
You just said that you don't care about the law. You care about if
No.
it's conscious or not.
the question that I'm asking you, I don't
Yes.
care about the law.
What?
I'm asking you what you think, regardless if you agree
About
or
the
disagree with the
blinker.
law. Yeah, do you think that the blinker is the right procedure that should be done?
I think it's situational. If we're not talking about the law. If we're talking about the law must be upheld no matter what. But in a situation, if you're in the middle of the desert, I ain't gonna use a blinker.
Yeah, like I said, there's no
If there's
obvious
no cars
way of using
around
a
me,
blinker.
I'm telling you,
Like,
if there's
I
no
understand.
cars around me, I'm just not gonna use a blinker, dude.
Well, yeah, but like if
I'm
there's
not saying
if there's
that
a
I'm better.
well, no, I'm just
than
saying that
using
if there's a
blinker.
road and everyone's going this way and there are lanes,
Okay,
yes,
let's
you use
say
a
that
blinker.
there's an
But if there's
intersection.
no road and it's just dirt,
Let's say-
there's no way for
Okay.
like left or right to make any sense because
Let's
turning on a blinker
Okay,
could
right.
just mean you go like this, or turning on a
Hang on,
blinker
wait,
means you go
hang
like
on. You're going. It's too much.
that. So there's no context.
Come back. Let's say that you're at a T, or you're
At a
at a. You know what a T is?
Are you talking about like T or talking about golf?
Jesus, a T.
Oh, you're
in
talking about
driving.
street.
A T street.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, the middle of the road. You're at a T. You're coming from the south or whatever,
Whatever. You're
and
going
then
to a T.
you're going to a T. No cars around you. Some people would just take the turn with no blinker because there's nobody around them. Now you're saying consciously, obviously, it's the law. I'm not disputing that. But situational, some cops, some police, everybody doesn't always uphold the law that way. That's not how the law works. It's like just because it's
Well,
the
yeah.
conscious thing to do or the right thing to do, it doesn't mean people do it. But it doesn't make you any less or better because you do it all the time.
I never once said that though.
Well, you were saying
No.
that you should, and I do it all the time. So you're putting yourself on a
No, I never
pedestal.
said I do it all the time. I never once said that. I
Well,
even
maybe-
agreed with you that I don't do it all the time.
Oh, well,
And that's the point, is that you're thinking that I'm only attacking you.
well, when you said you brought the conversation to me,
Yes, because we
You
are
made-
talking.
right? But you made it personal when you
Yeah.
said you.
Well, everything we've talked about has been personal. And
Not
will
really.
always be personal when you are talking to another person. One-on-one.
When we were talking about the aliens,
It was personal.
was it
It had to have been.
personal with the aliens?
Because we were talking about what we thought about it. So by me saying what I think about it means that I don't care what you're thinking
great,
about.
but you cast
But you-
judgment. You said you do this.
And do you agree that that statement was right? That you don't
I
use the blinker
said-
majority of the time?
I said I don't use the blinker. I said that I don't use the blinker because sometimes there's no people to tell where I'm going.
Well, yeah, just like when we think that happens all the time in everyone's life, right? How
Right.
we cast judgment on people. Like how we were trying to take the couch upstairs. You're like, Greg, you need to go to the gym.
Yes.
Is that not kind of the same thing here?
Well, no, because I would tell you if you're struggling to pick up a sofa and you're 29 years old, I think that's more important than
So then maybe
a blinker.
I'm saying something, or maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying, and the concept is the same. It's just being taken differently. Because that concept was the same. You were casting judgment,
I
and I
wasn't
wasn't.
casting judgment. I was saying,
But see,
Greg,
do you
you're
see what I'm
having-
saying there?
what?
Like, you said that I needed to go to the gym because I can't pick up a couch.
Yes.
But
You're gonna
now
hurt
I'm
yourself.
saying you need to turn on a blinker because you don't know how to drive. Like, do you understand that concept's the same? Like, you
I
still
think
cast judgment
those-
on me regardless if the judgment is different. So, like, everyone does cast the judgments. Maybe they're read differently.
I mean, at this point, you've lost me. I don't know where we're going at this point. You're saying that because I told you that you're gonna hurt, like basically, you're gonna hurt your back. You said that you couldn't pick up the couch. I said, Greg, you should hit the gym.
Okay. But you don't.
I never said.
like-
I never said. Oh, today I almost ran into a car. The guy didn't see me, and then you're like, you probably didn't use your blinker. Then I would have been like, shit, you're
Do you
right.
see the connection there then?
No,
Maybe
really.
see, like, that's why maybe how you say that this is my natural habitat and that I like to argue. Okay, I've heard that many times. But maybe that's the way that I think that I can see something differently that others are not seeing, because how you're saying that me not going to the gym, I'm going to hurt my back. But by me saying that you're not using your blinker, you may get hit. Like
That's not what you said.
But I didn't say that, but neither did you. You didn't say that I'm going to hurt my back. Like, you just said that because
You
I wasn't
said
able
you
to.
couldn't pick it up,
Yeah, you're
and I'm
essentially.
looking at you. You can't
Like,
pick
you
it
were
up.
saying, I'm not strong enough to pick it up.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That you aren't in the right mind to use the blinker so you don't get hit.
No, you didn't say that. You said
Exactly. Do you
no,
see now?
But no,
Like, I'm trying to
you-
piece it together so you're understanding how.
You're trying to correlate two different things that have nothing to do with it.
the
with each other.
judgment casting that we're not picking up the same thing.
Dude, health is different than what we're talking about.
But
you said conscious,
Yeah.
good, like the something you're supposed to do. Are you
Yeah.
supposed to go to the gym? No,
You're supposed to
I'm
keep yourself
telling-
fit,
you're
and that's the point of
not
the gym.
really. Like, you're not supposed to do anything. You have free will. You can do whatever you want. But if you're having trouble and you're gonna throw out your back, I'm telling you, like, hey, maybe you should go to the gym.
Okay.
But I wasn't like, we weren't talking about driving and
So you're trying. No, I know there are different circumstances, but what I'm saying is that there's still. It wasn't arguing. You weren't arguing that I suck because I can't pick up the couch.
no,
Like, I'm not arguing that you suck because you can't use a blinker.
no. But
I'm saying that-
you said that you suck at driving.
Did I say that?
I think so. So then I was like, what? That's why I
No,
said
come on.
you're.
You said that I suck at driving too. So, like, do you not see?
I didn't say that. I said you.
You said I drive like a grandma.
No, you said you drive like a grandma.
I also said that. Yeah.
No, you said that first.
No, that's fine.
Yes.
But then you agreed with me. So as if you were saying it.
What
That's
you're
the point.
saying.
So
Yes,
it doesn't
you
matter
do
if you
drive
directly called me that first. Who cares who called first?
I don't-
If you agree, you agree.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who called first.
Okay. So what is your
If
point?
I shoot you, you shoot me. It doesn't matter that I shot you first. You also shot me.
Okay. What is the point, Greg?
The point is that, like, the whole concept is
What concept?
you were saying about casting judgment. It's not about casting this. People think that
you
judgment means
framed
that
it.
it's
You framed it in such a way that it appeared to me you were casting judgment. It was out of nowhere. It was something irrelevant to the conversation we were having. The lifting the couch, we were lifting a couch. We were in the situation. We were doing something, and I made a comment.
sure.
This blinker stuff came out of nowhere.
Well,
Do you
it
see
came
the
from the
difference?
conversation.
Well,
Sure.
the conversation you started about using blinkers.
Yeah, but it continued through a conversation that you contributed to.
You
Right.
said something about blinkers, and you said every time I get into your car, you don't use a blinker. That's what you said, and I was like,
Well,
Okay. like, what is like? Okay, so what? Yes, sometimes I don't use a blinker because there's no cars around me. and then you took it about doing it consciously because it's the right thing to do. What does that have to do with me telling you in the moment, like?
But we eventually agreed that was the conscious thing that we should be doing, right?
I still don't understand what you mean by that. But it doesn't matter. I'll agree with you. I'll agree to disagree. Like most of the conversations that we have. When it comes to these things. About like, you may have a point in a way, but I also have a point because there's it's situational too. You understand that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. There are situations where you don't use it. Yes.
Yeah, and there's two different things.
But what I'm trying to go for is when the situation that you are supposed to use it for, you consciously choose to not use it. You should be using it in that situation.
I mean,
that's what I'm trying to go for.
But Greg,
like, I don't care about this empty desert where there's no lanes and you don't use blinkers. That makes sense. That's fine. Greg, that's in a different category. That's where I'm trying to get at.
But Greg, it's the law. And that's what you don't understand. Is that you're saying, I'm telling you, it's the law. It means that you have to use blinkers no matter what. I understand that. That's the law. You understand that that's the law, but you're framing it in another way.
How?
About doing the right thing. What does that even mean? What is the right thing?
In that circumstance,
abiding by the law. That is the right thing.
Okay.
So the conversation that we're having, we're having this conversation, and then you trek, but come back to the conversation. We're having you make a point, but then you bring it, you trek out, and then we come back over here. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. It's irrelevant.
It's like you choose things to talk about that are irrelevant.
I'm trying to get you to piece them together.
All you had to say is, I cast judgment, you cast judgment.
Well, that was part of
the whole
another
point?
Conversation within the conversation.
But was that the point of the whole conversation?
No. Because we didn't talk about judgment until after
that's why I'm wondering.
Conversation. So there are multiple conversations through this whole process.
Well, I'm wondering, what was the point of inciting the conversation?
It started with, I don't know exactly where it started, but
what was your point?
It came from the blinker.
But what was the point of the blinker?
If you agreed that the process of using the blinker is the right way.
Baiting.
What?
Are you baiting? Were you baiting? Were you baiting to catch me to say something? Like, aha? Like,
no.
Or that's why I'm wondering, like, what was the point of this conversation about this blinker?
It's just what we went off on.
Well, no, I didn't go off on this. You kind of just took me on this.
No, but see, that doesn't make any sense to me though. Is if there was nothing for us to go back and forth about, we would have been done with this conversation. So you were contributing to it just as much as I was. So I don't understand how you're saying that I was the one who did it. I
had to contribute to the conversation because this is what the podcast is about. It's us having a conversation. I could have just said, "Greg, this is retarded. We've done an hour. Let's cut it short."
But that's what you just did right now. Is with saying
I didn't.
No. Well, a few minutes ago,
I gave you a counter argument.
No. You went to we agreed to disagree. That was the point of.
We beat the horse to shit. We talked about this way too much for our own good.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, we both agreed to disagree.
But we have agreed on a few things. And there was much more within this conversation than just the blinker conversation.
I see your point. But the way that we went about it is not the best way to debate something.
But
because
we weren't debating, we were just talking about.
Well, I mean, at the end, it was like a debate / argument.
But we can't even remember what we're debating, so there's nothing to debate. We can't even remember where it started from, so we are not debating anything. We're just talking about things and then disagreeing as we're going.
I mean, again, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
It's like people take a conversation, and just because there are different sides of it, and we're trying to prove each other to be wrong in every aspect of the way, that's what a conversation is.
Not
Always.
really. It's exchange of information.
But I mean, when you say, "Hey, how was your week?" I try to tell you the best thing that happened in my week. And why do you think that is? Because we're trying to peacock each other.
Sometimes I tell you I had a shitty week.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shitty you.
Sometimes that's the point,
people
though.
to be pitied to me.
But it kind of sometimes that's the point. When you do
Not
that,
really.
you want to get comfort from the people.
Sometimes
You know what
there's
I mean?
people.
And see, I said you, but by that I don't mean you.
But okay, so there you go. So you need to rephrase the way you say things, because sometimes they come out and you're saying you. Like, honestly, when I sit down here, I'm not really. I forgot about this.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've been what? This has been.
It's already 11.
2 hours.
I looked at it when. Yeah, I looked at it.
I didn't even. Dude, so this conversation has been going on about this blinker shit for way too long. I'm not saying like it doesn't matter. I'm saying like, okay, we beat the horse to shit.
Okay.
But what was the whole point about it?
Think about it though. More came out of it than you may even think. Right? So we sat here. Was there a point where you were just like done? You were just like, this guy is stupid. Like, I'm done with this.
No.
We were both like,
the
other person doesn't understand. But we still sat here and talked.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of today.
Where there are so many people out there who would got into the same situation and just stopped and left and be like, all right, we're done.
That's the problem with America nowadays.
So you don't see that was a good thing that came out of this? And maybe the whole concept of we can say each other's flaws and still move on with it?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, if...
Like, sometimes beating a horse gets you a hamburger.
Sometimes, not always.
Don't come after me, Peter.
Sometimes beating a horse gets you, like, fake blood thrown at you.
Sure.
You know? So it could be...
So what are you saying? You're saying you're going to throw fake blood at me? You just said you.
Situational. I said people would throw blood on you. And say, I'm going to throw blood on you.
No. It's just...
I know you're trying to make another point, but what I'm going to say, other people, the conversation, like, you can't, you're like playing rugby in a soccer game. Do you get that?
But see, that's the thing, though. But sometimes people can't just, like, right there. You know obviously, I was joking when I said that. That's super obvious.
Yeah.
But then that also, at the same time, still made you angry, right?
Not really.
Because then it was
I already know. That's why I gave you a comeback. If I would have been upset, I'd be like, fuck you, Greg. I already know you. That's why I said, like, to just make another point of it. Sometimes we're playing by soccer rules, and then you do a handball, you're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The rules are just rules.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But we can all be doing something that is not the correct way. And just because we're all doing it that way doesn't mean that we're doing it right. And that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, just because something is normal doesn't mean it's correct.
I get that.
And that's where I'm trying to go with it.
Well, but you didn't go that route. We made it a route of...
I did. By saying that I do the same thing just because I'm talking about you rather than myself.
But you see because how you're framing it now?
But why would I... Then I would just pull you out of the picture and just talk to myself.
No, but
there's no point in that.
But Greg, do you see how now you have a frame to work with? That you're saying if you have this conversation about what did you just say? Can you repeat it so I don't paraphrase you?
I'm just paraphrasing, and then we'll just go over there because I don't know what you want me to
rephrase what you just said about. That's where I'm going with it.
Oh, as in like we all may be doing something one way, where we all know we shouldn't be doing it that way.
Okay. So now stop.
Well, we
Okay.
continue to do it.
Right. So you just put a framework for a conversation. The blinker would be an example, right?
Okay.
You went into the blinker with no context. So to me, when you said you don't put on your blinker, it was like, okay, are you casting judgment or what are you doing?
Would that not be context though?
No, there was
Because
no context.
now the context is that we're talking about specifically you using a blinker. Like that, I don't understand what more context. Like,
well, I was saying,
So
you're casting judgment.
if I were to have
That's what
generalized it, but I'm talking about you, and
Yeah, I
possibly
would've
somebody you
said-
don't know that also, like, my mom doesn't use blinkers that much. Like, at that point, it's fine. Like, I don't see why the difference
Because
is there.
right now you just put a framework for the conversation, whereas before it came off as casting judgment,
So,
which is not a conversation.
So, by that, are you kind of saying that you would rather have how you're saying that arm argument? You think that people would perceive less arguing for me if I generalized
If you gave
rather
framework,
than
if you gave
specified you because I know you do it, and that I don't need to specify other people because we're talking. Like,
no,
is that-
I'm
I'm not picking that what
okay.
you're saying there.
framework of the conversation is there are things that people don't do that they should be doing. Example, sometimes you don't use a blinker. Oh, okay, that's right, I don't use a blinker. Sometimes you don't drink enough water. Right, I don't drink enough water. But when you leave that out of the conversation, you just go straight into you don't use a blinker, therefore you're wrong, it comes off like you're casting judgment. Does that make sense? And so, that I was offended because I already know you. I already know you in the sense that you bring up these conversations this way, but sometimes with no framework.
Isn't that why we have people around us to say things like that? Like, if you're doing something that is not right, like how you said that that your wife said that like you were being lazy. She was attacking you, right? No. Do you see what I'm saying there? Like,
yes,
but it wasn't.
but
It wasn't like you're being lazy. Like, screw you. It was more trying to get an improvement.
well,
right?
intention is different.
It's like when my mom comes to me and says that things are kind of dirty and you're teaching your son to be that way. Like, it's not an attack. It's more or less improve yourself. Like,
Sure.
This needs to be done.
Right.
Like, that's more or less what I'm trying to go for, but maybe I sucked at school and English is a terrible subject for me, and maybe I'm just wording things and putting things the wrong way, and that's why people are perceiving the way I'm speaking as argumentative.
Do you feel like this happens a lot?
Oh, I'm told this all the time, sure.
Okay.
But that's
So are
the
you
only
not
way I can
explaining?
get across.
Right. So are you not explaining yourself correctly, or are you not framing what you're trying to tell them correctly?
And see, that's why I use
nobody wants to
examples
be
to try to
judged.
piece them together.
So
But like, as I use examples to piece them together, people are taking things like those examples and trying to make it a separate conversation.
It's not that they're trying to make it that way. It's that they feel that way.
But like as I'm going, I'm saying take
because
that
you're
concept
trying
and
to make
input it.
you're trying to make a point of things, and people don't know if you're just trying to make a point to be right and tell them that they're wrong, or if you're just trying to help them out. Sometimes you got to tell people, I'm trying to help you out, and I'm going to frame it this way so you understand that. Because if you just say you don't use the blinker, you're wrong for doing that, it feels and it comes off like you're casting judgment. So you're not me, but another person could have been offended and just said, "Well, fuck off, Greg."
Do you think that that's something that's happening right now?
Well, first
Like-
of all,
like,
people
let's
don't
use-
understand themselves, and second of all, I mean, right now with this podcast, I'm learning how to communicate, and I'm brushing up on my communication skills. Whereas
Like-
people don't, they don't even talk, and they have
This
like
is-
no concept of a conversation.
This is something that I was thinking about, and I never really thought about it this way, and I could explain it completely wrong, but how, like, you have those preachers who go out. Like, I watched this street preacher once, and he never raised his voice. He would say things that sound really, like, they sound really bad, like saying, "You're going to go to hell." Like, that sounds bad, but if, say, the religion is correct, and let's say you are a homosexual, and the rule is you can't be a homosexual to go to heaven, and the only alternative to heaven is hell, then in that rule, if you are a homosexual, you are going to hell. It's not that he's saying that you're, like, he's not saying that I hope you die. He's saying in the process of life, if this is what you do, this is the outcome.
Okay, but
And
there's
so
a
to the,
big
to the
fallacy
people who
in
are
that. But hang
to
on.
people who are the homosexuals, they hear it as he wants you dead.
Well,
he wants you in hell.
There's a
But that's not. That's
Yes,
where.
right.
That's where the difference of
but do you
of
see?
hearing
But
is.
do you see that there's a fallacy in that because there's plenty of religions. It's not just one.
No. That's why I
It's
said
not
at
a
the start.
universal thing.
And see, I think that's one of the things that people miss is little details that
What?
I throw in.
Like
Like
what?
at the start, I said if that religion is correct, which means if it's not correct, then they don't go to hell. And what's the problem?
Okay, so maybe you should add that at the end, not at the beginning of the
But-
conversation.
But see now, is
Because,
that? But
look,
I
because
don't
you're
understand
giving-
how that's my fault.
You're
Not my. I'm gonna say my fault for lack of word. That it's my fault that because you were in the conversation that you didn't pick up on.
Let me tell you this.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, but let me tell you this. You are talking about one thing, and then you talk about other things, and then you bring other points here that people are gonna obviously miss the beginning of it. Where we talked about this blinker until it became irrelevant. Like we were just talking about blinkers now. But we missed the whole point of why it even began.
okay.
Like that's the point. Like the conversation that you just had right now, you just told me about this. If like you said if at the beginning, but then you took me down this other route, like a long route where I forgot you even said if.
Okay.
Like and then I gave you the point of, but the fallacy in this is that there's more religions. But then I said if at the beginning.
See,
After like
I
a
think-
5-minute conversation.
I think maybe that's where a lot of conversations can go wrong then, because like how you were saying about the whole we go out and come back in. See, maybe you don't talk that way, where you don't bring all of these things together to be part of this, where maybe I do, so now you feel like this is a waste of time where I feel I have to do this.
It could be.
So this, you lose all of this,
Yeah.
where to me, I'm gaining all of this, and you don't get anything unless this part happens. And since this part didn't happen, conversation wasn't useful for you. Where I feel like I've gotten enough out of the conversation.
No, I'm not saying
That-
I didn't learn something. I'm trying to tell you, like, and it's good, and we should have these conversations, and we should challenge each other. That's the point of this conversation, of these conversations, of the nature of these conversations. We should challenge each other into thinking in different ways and whatnot. But when you first started the conversation, that point became obsolete. Like at the end of the conversation, the point from the beginning it was irrelevant.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, my point was
See, like,
my whole point was, if you're gonna talk about something like this, give context and frame the conversation so I know where you're going with it.
but
Like,
see,
if
we
you-
didn't even know where we were going with it. Like, as it continued, I asked you another question, and then when we couldn't explain it, we jumped to another part to try to explain what we were just trying to explain. So until we decided that we couldn't explain the next step, we were so many steps ahead that we forgot a couple steps and can't return back to the beginning. But that doesn't mean that we weren't
we
like
should just
going
change.
somewhere.
Okay, or we could just switch subjects.
We could have.
So that's
And
why
we didn't because we still felt like there was value in continuing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I asked you what is the point. Like, I was just wondering.
We
Like,
don't know.
what was the point?
We don't know the point of anything. And bring it back to the beginning.
Oh my god, bro. You just,
Dude, as we was talking the last half hour, this image right here, it was clear. You could see the cars driving across the city, and now it's just getting blurrier and blurrier.
so maybe just not 2020 anymore, dude.
I guess. Maybe my eyes are bleeding.
Dude, people's ears are gonna be bleeding at the end of this conversation. Anyway, holla at your boys at Thought Process on Instagram. Do we have a Twitter account?
There's everything.
Thought Process Twitter. Do you know the things?
Everything is thought process.
Thought Process
Yeah.
Podcast.
Huh?
Anyway, thank you for joining us again for a very long episode, and make sure you use your goddamn blinker.
Yeah. Bye, Steve.
Oh man, that was a long.